and perception of crime in St. Louis.
And the Cardinals defeated the Astros to salvage the finale of the series yesterday afternoon. They are back home tonight for a homestand. They will take on the Rockies. 6:45 is the first pitch. We got the pregame show on KMOX starting at 5:50. And Amy, you mentioned it about an hour ago. Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore was here in studio talking to Debbie and Tom about where the city is in terms of crime. That's the one thing that it seems like we've always talked about in the city. And even though some of the numbers are suggesting that things are improving, like the homicide rate dropping about 20% since he has taken that position, they were asking him about the perception of crime in the city of St. Louis.
We just have to, continue what we're doing. I think what Chief Tracy is doing in terms of his enforcement strategies and the things that we're focusing on in terms of really trying to focus on that small group of individuals who really engage in most of the violent crime. We just got to keep doing that work. I do think there's a lag of perception to reality. I'm downtown every day, work down here, spend 12 hours every day downtown, and I feel like downtown is safe. I know that when we think about the neighborhoods that are high crime neighborhoods that we really need to focus on and get under control, downtown's not on that list, but I know that there's a perception out there that downtown isn't safe. And I think that's due largely to the fact that when there is an incident downtown, even if it's an incident involving individuals who know each other and it's an interpersonal dispute, those are amplified and focused on. And I think that's what caused people to perceive that downtown is unsafe.
Yeah, I think there's a combination. Okay, you said, did you mean violent crime is down versus homicides? Because there are actually more murders this year in 2024 than there were in 2023.
Since he has taken office, it's down 20%.
Okay, down 20%. So, yeah, so this year...
homicide rate.
Homicide rate. Okay. Because again, just looking at the numbers, and obviously what he is doing is he's not a police officer on the street stopping crime, but he is prosecuting crime. And that wasn't happening for a long time. I feel better knowing Gabe Gore is the circuit attorney. And I think he gives the city hope that he's going to get the office in order. And when you start prosecuting crime, that matters. And it is a deterrent knowing, hey, if you get caught, something's going to happen to you. You're going to be prosecuted. And I mean, we talk about this ad nauseum, the perception of crime, but there is real crime. Violent crime is down. Murders are up this year compared to last year. And I really go back to time and location matter, because I do think, let's say there are 50 murders so far, and there are more than that this year. But let's say there are, because I think there were 53 at the beginning of May, but let's say there were 50 murders last year. And you think, okay, well, it was at 2 a.m, right? Most of these happened at 2 a.m, or they're happening in kind of like maybe one of the sketchier neighborhoods. I do think that allows people to separate themselves a bit from the crime versus, oh my gosh, that happened at 14th and Clark at 3 p.m. or that happened on Tucker. And I think that's where the reporting of the crime, yes, that can scare people alone, but they're seeing when and where it's happening. And to me, I think this, oh my gosh, that could have been me. I'm at 14th and Clark at 3 p.m. versus I'm not out and about at 2 a.m. Everybody knows it's kind of dangerous at 2 a.m.
But also, as he mentioned, it's not somebody like you. And that doesn't mean that it's any more or less important, because a human life is a human life. But it's not people who are coming in to visit the city who are being attacked. And I think that's what... Like, these are, as he said, these are parties that kind of know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not random. It's not some guy with a gun who's walked up to somebody who's in town from, who's in the city from Chesterfield and puts a gun to their head and kills them. That's not what's happening. Usually it is. And while it is still very sad and needs to be handled, it's not the same as people coming in to visit the city and see what downtown has to offer and are being mugged and or killed coming down here. That's not happening.
Don't you think too that people start to they question the numbers and they're questioning the leaders because you hear violent crime is down, homicide is down. And like you said, well, it's since Gabe Gore took office, right? Which to a point, I mean,
It's been a while.
he's not directly, you know what I mean, responsible. It's not like he's the police force, right? Like responding to these crimes or trying to deter crime. But, you know, it's part of the whole process of prosecuting crime. So they hear, okay, wait, it's been down. But then you see, you know, from KMOV Channel 4, the numbers that in January, this was a story that came out February 2nd this year. There were twice as many murders in January this year, 2024, than there were in January last year of 2023. And it's that dissonance of the numbers and hearing leaders go, well, we mean over this amount of time. The number that I can
Well, then,
relate to is, oh my gosh, there were twice as many. And so it makes you
in
start
that
to
one
wonder
month.
in that 1 month
In
and
that
still
1 month,
more
but
this year overall.
but again, if the numbers are what they are and they are down 20% since he took office, why would we not take that
Yeah.
number and go, that's progress, man. That's moving in the right direction. Like it almost seems like some people just want to hang on
Yeah.
to the idea that, well, it's bad, it's terrible. I'm never going down there because I'm going to get killed if I go down there. No matter what you tell me,
hmm
that's how I feel about it. And he can't change how I feel because the numbers don't seem to jive with that.
And I think there's, like I said, there are distinctions. Um, I do notice a difference in places like Del Mar in the past 10 years or downtown. I know people were talking about walking to Busch Stadium. I used to walk or at least jog from our studio to Enterprise Center. It's not that far, but you know, it's a little bit. You have to go through a little park, a city park area. And I did that in 2019. I think since COVID, it's a little bit sketchier,
Again,
just a
is that
little
your
bit emptier.
perception? Or well, it's emptier for sure.
Yeah, and
That's a
but
completely
that's
different conversation.
that's what I'm saying though. That's a real perception. Like you said, people. There's safety in people. So I would not now, you know, jog from Enterprise to or from here to Enterprise with a Blues game. But okay, here
But see, I hear what you're saying,
yeah.
but also the evidence doesn't suggest that somebody like you is the person who is the victim of a crime down here. That's just not what's happening.
Yeah.
It's people
I
who
work down
it's
here.
parties who know
Yeah.
each other, right?
Right. And
So
we
you're
work down here, but I also I told my friend not to take the Metrolink. I'm like, "Oh yeah, you can come downtown. Don't take the Metrolink."
see, and I took it. I came home from Chicago back in whenever there was a Dave Chappelle. I forgot who else was with him at Enterprise
Yeah.
Center, and I got back really late. Got back at midnight. I forgot that concert, or maybe I didn't know it was going on. And when I took the train, so I ended up at the train
Mhm.
station, which is right across the street from Enterprise. Tried to get a car, and it was taking forever. So I said, you know what? I'll just try the Metrolink because it gets off in the Central West End.
Mhm.
And like the last train out I caught. And it was, I don't know, 12:30 at that point in the morning. And I felt fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I got off at my stop. I had to walk, I think, 4 blocks to get home, 3, 4 blocks. And I don't know, I felt fine. I just kind of looked around as you
Mhm.
always do when you're walking at night. I do it in Chicago. I do it wherever I'm at. When I was in Indianapolis, I did it there. It's just that to me is common sense.
Yeah, and
But it's not
maybe
like
too and I would wanna respect the different gender experience as well, right? I mean, even in a safe town, like, in general, girls are more they have to be more aware of their surroundings. We know the numbers show they're way more, likely to suffer, you know, gendered violence or crime or talk or whatever. Every girl looks at the parking lot, right? That's a different experience as well. So it could be that I'm projecting some of that normal, healthy
could be.
paranoia
Because
into it.
that's anywhere. You would
Yeah,
be
that's
doing
what I'm
that in
saying.
any city you
You
go
do it in
to,
a
not
Walmart
just
parking lot, Target parking lot, you do it all the time.
you would do it in Chesterfield if you're going to the store. You
Can
would do
I
it anywhere.
give you a quick analogy of why I think maybe people are reluctant to acknowledge the downward trend in crime in the numbers alone? Aside from, I do think they kind of fudge the numbers with changing the categories, but even aside from that, it's like, let's say um, you have a weight problem. Let's say you're at 200 pounds, whatever that is. You're at 200 pounds and you're working with someone and you're 210, 220, 230, and you go up to 230 and you're like, hey, I really need to lose weight. That's why I started working with you in the first place. So you're at 230, you're higher than you've ever been. You work with them, you go back down to 220, and then that person keeps talking about, you know, how great the weight loss is. And you're thinking, Yeah, but I started at 200. Do you know what I mean?
Right, but you're making progress. Celebrate the progress. Because if it was going the other direction, you'd be saying, well, now you're 240. What are you doing wrong?
But it
You have
was
to-
going the other direction.
Right, but now you've corrected it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like you've gone
I
away
guess.
from the bad trend toward the good trend. Take that and run with it and keep going.
I would just be like, why did I have to gain 30 pounds first to lose
See,
10?
well, then that's an attitude that you probably, and anybody who has that attitude needs to think about it, because that's what kind of holds us back, I think, is a region. Like, yeah, fine, you're making corrections, but you're still over where you need to be. Well, okay, but we're making progress. Progress is progress. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
We go where you go. 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
Tip for everybody that, especially this summer, if you haven't had your air conditioner checked, if you're getting into a space where you're changing the filter and it's very hot, meaning like you have to go up in the attic or side area on your house, and if you just slide a filter out and then slide another filter in, and that's how you change your filters, try this. Put duct tape where you put your filter in that unconditioned space in the attic. If that's what you're doing, you're just going up and you're sliding in there. It's sucking a lot of hot air into your system. It's actually making your air conditioner not able to cool. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about, call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, that's bartinman.com. It's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system, options, and strategies to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Paid for by government.com. Have you heard? A recent stash of 1902 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1902 silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 300 of these Morgan silver dollars are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-806-1641. And you are guaranteed a mint condition 1902 Morgan silver dollar, featuring the iconic old mint mark of the New Orleans Mint. But with limited quantity, you must call now. These 1902 silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 122 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-806-1641. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-806-1641 now to secure your 1902 Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-806-1641.
Charlie Brennan with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. What can people expect when they visit one of your doctors at the Audiology Center?
Expect a friendly greeting and a waiting room stocked full of refreshments. But more importantly, a patient should expect that they're treated on an individual basis. We are not retail, and we pride ourselves on our medical model. Each hearing aid is catered towards each patient's unique needs. Expect a full history intake where we get to know you and your personal needs. And then we'll complete a full battery of tests where we can adequately diagnose your hearing health. We want you to understand those results right away. So directly following your tests, we're going to go over everything extensively. Finally, at that time, we'll develop a customized treatment plan built around you as an individual.
The Audiology Center, 3 locations in the St. Louis area, 636-441-7470, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
And paid for by AG Marketing Group. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-866-7061. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-866-7061. The call is free, the consultation is free. Call 800-866-7061. That's 800-866-7061. Again, 800-866-7061.
Rich Orris hosts the KMOX Home Improvement Show, presented by Mosby Building Arts. Saturday at 11 on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Continuing the conversation about the city of St. Louis, we were talking about the perception of crime. There's also this idea that we're losing out to other cities when it comes to concerts, conventions, and events. And we were recently talking about Indianapolis. I've been there a ton. You were just there.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago, yeah. And the city of Indianapolis, of course, has all of these sporting events, and it's the NCAA headquarters, and they have the NFL Combine. They're getting Taylor Swift for 3 nights in November, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And they also won the U.S. Olympic swimming trials, or the U.S. Swimming Olympic trials. That starts in less than a couple of weeks, less than 2 weeks. And what they did is they transformed Lucas Oil Stadium into the world's largest aquatic venue. You have an Olympic-sized pool where the events will take place, but you also have several practice pools. And I would love to talk to someone who worked on the logistics of this as a side note, because they couldn't drill into the cement and ruin an NFL stadium. So I want to know, how did they construct something strong enough to hold a billion gallons of water or whatever it is?
I don't know. All I saw was the only thing I know about it. The only thing I've seen to this point is the Colts mascot jumping in the pool.
Yeah, because it's done. Oh, with his outfit on?
Yep.
That'd be
damp. I don't know how the head didn't pop off. But anyway, yeah, he jumped into the race pool.
And how long? It's like when you wash a blanket. How long is that going to take to dry? At any rate, it's going to be a very, very cool event. It's going to bring millions and millions of dollars into Indy because they will have concerts, right? People will be staying at hotels. And I love watching swimming at the Olympics. Like, it's so exciting. But St. Louis was passed over for this. I don't know. It makes me feel like, do you think we'll be a city that could host something like that? Now, I know we hosted the gymnastic trials. I think that was last time, one of the rounds of the U.S. gymnastic trials, the last Olympics. So maybe that is the answer. Yes.
And then they have at Enterprise Center, I think it's some sort of NCAA gymnastics regional or something. I feel like that's
they just had it,
but I think that's here a lot.
Right.
Yeah, there's something here that's yearly because I have friends who come down for it. Here's the thing about Indianapolis. It just historically, for decades, has been a place where major sporting events happen perennially. I mean, the Indy 500 is there all the time, so they're equipped for it already. The NFL Combine used to be there every single year. I think they're moving locations now, or they're going to. But that is a huge event where a lot of people come in for it. Clearly, the Pacers are there. The Colts are there.
And now the Fever with Caitlin Clark.
The
that's
WNBA is there. I think that's, I mean, Indiana University, but that's not Indianapolis. So they have
major. They have IUPUI there, but that's smaller.
That's a small school. But they have, a lot of sporting events. I think it's just a city that has been for a long time equipped for it. We have the foundation to build the infrastructure to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like this city could never be that. We've had a Final Four before.
Well,
it was a long time ago, but 1998?
And that's why too, in 2000, I think it was 2004, the marathon trials, the big marathon trials that I'm really into that take place in February. St. Louis hosted that in 2004. And in 2021, they did host the Olympic team trials for gymnastics, and it was a record-breaking crowd.
Yeah.
In 2021 at the Dome. So does this just mean keep investing that money in the Dome even though you're over budget?
I think you have to. And I know it sounds silly to people because, well, why would you do that if you have no NFL team? An NFL team is only there for 8 or 9 games a season. Actually, I guess if you count preseason, you have about 10. So that's 10 dates a year, right? But you could still have concerts, still have major concerts. You still have major conventions, if you update that facility, it attracts people to come in. Simple stuff like expanding the loading docks so that bigger events could come in so they could just load the stuff into the convention center. Apparently, we have small docks. The convention center has small docks, and that seems like a really dumb thing.
Yeah.
But it's not. Because if you can't fit your exhibits inside, well, then you can't have the exhibit.
You need a bigger dock.
Right? Yet you got, man.
You really do. And but for real, I mean, because my mind is just, I don't know, because I get so frustrated and I know I get down on the city, and I think we are about $45 million over budget on the convention center. However, I think Indianapolis poured like $1.6 billion into their convention expansion. I mean, they are all in. So at this point, maybe you just say, okay, keep spending, because to set a record for gymnastics at the Dome in 2021 for the team trials, how could that not be a good thing?
Right. I think that anytime we can get an event, like when Enterprise updated their whole thing, remember how they were running their electrical grid on Windows 95 up until like 5 years ago?
And it looks great, the renovations.
Yeah, so when you do that, that's how you get events. We have to continue to update no matter how much it costs. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Everything local, in-depth perspective. That's Total Information PM.
Michael, our temperatures are going to be just cold enough.
We'll let you know what lies ahead.
Well, here's the worst of the highways right now, Michael.
Keep you up to the minute.
Breaking news.
Ask the tough questions, help you understand, and share a laugh.
Generally, if you're making a trade with the Rays, it's not good for you.
Get up to date on St. Louis and then get on with your life. Total Information PM each night at 5 on KMOX.
Witness the story of a love affair that rocked two empires with Handel's opera Julius Caesar, running June 9th through 28th at Opera Theater of St. Louis. When Caesar arrives in Alexandria in pursuit of a political rival, the last thing he expects is to fall for an Egyptian princess. But when Cleopatra sets her mind to something, there's no standing in her way. Experience this steamy political thriller for yourself. Tickets start at just $25. Learn more at experienceopera.org.
Thanks for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is Sarah. How can I help?
I've been thinking.
What have you been thinking about?
I decided I should declutter more often because it's an important part of a balanced and healthy life.
Have you ever noticed that 1-800-GOT-JUNK has a question mark at the end of it?
Yes, I have noticed that.
We make junk disappear.
All I have to do is point.
All you have to do is point.
Can you come right now?
We're on our way.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you why pay more than 4. In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many markets' ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444. 314-441-ALL-4s. And remember, why pay more than 4?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
At 10:30, Sun 78 downtown at the Arch. President Biden, Britain's King Charles, and French President Macron among the dignitaries observing the 80th anniversary commemorations of the D-Day landings that turned the tide of World War II. CBS's Vicky Barker from the Foreign Desk in London.
Monsieur John Waters.
France says thank you. President Macron pinning the Legion d'honneur on the chests of D-Day veterans, the youngest in their 90s now. President Biden evoking the hours before history's greatest land, sea, and air invasion.
Every one of them knew the probability of dying was real, but they did it anyway.
All around, 9,000 white headstones of the Americans who died on the beaches, the cliffs, and the fields of Normandy 80 years ago. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
Former Kansas City Chiefs and St. Louis Cardinals defensive end Marvin Upshaw has died in California. Upshaw started 14 games per season for KC from 71 to 74 and finished his pro career with St. Louis in 76. A brother of Pro Football Hall of Famer Gene Upshaw, Marvin Upshaw was 77. It's not even summer, and a large swath of the U.S. is having a heat wave. Details from Weather Channel meteorologist Stephanie Abrams.
Today, our highs are running above average across much of the country with the 90s and the triple digits from Florida, Idaho. And you might be saying it's June. It's supposed to be hot. Well, not this hot. If we look back at the last 50 years, our summertime temps are running 3 to 5 degrees warmer, including places like Houston, where we've seen a sharp 4.5 degrees rise.
This Redbird Report is sponsored by Aloha Pools USA. Win big with a pool or spa at AlohaPoolsUSA.com. Redbirds wrapped up their 9-game road trip with a 4-2 win in Houston against the Astros as they get a win from Miles Michaelis going 6 innings, picks up his 4th win of the season. Ryan Helsley, his major league leading 20th save. Nolan Arenado picked up his 6th home run of the season. Cards open up their 7-game homestand tonight against the Colorado Rockies. Coverage starts at 5:50, 6:45 at the first pitch. Sonny Gray will get the start for St. Louis.
Thank you, Scott Warman. The 2-vehicle crash on 270 North at Olive has been cleared. That was in the center 2 lanes. Slow-moving road work on 70 West at Wentzville Parkway. That's got the right lane closed. This afternoon, sunny, breezy, warm, low humidity. High 85. For tonight, clear and comfortable, low 62. Tomorrow's high 87. Right now, 78 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Zero Res has the best deal of the summer for you right now. 3 rooms clean starting at just $129 and take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Say it backwards or forwards, it spells the same, Zero Res.
There's breaking news all day long from around the world, and sometimes all that noise makes it hard to hear about what's happening right here at home. With the free Odyssey app, getting your local news plus breaking news is easy. And even when you're not near a radio, stay connected with what's going on right here by listening live and push alerts. Just download the free Odyssey app and search and follow your local news station, and you're good to go. The local breaking news to get you through your day at your fingertips on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Vira Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
The KMOX Studios, powered by Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com.
That's GetJim.com.
Summertime is the best time to enjoy the outdoors and enhance the appearance of your home. Banner Construction can make your home the showplace of the neighborhood with maintenance-free James Hardy siding and beautiful Pella replacement windows. Drive up to your home with a renewed pride. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050. Get a free in-home design and estimate. Call 314-569-1050 and have a banner day. 314-569-1050.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or biglou.com.
KMOX is Cardinals Radio.
Following the Cards-Rockies game Friday night, it's live at Lowe's. Ricky Horton and Mike Claiborne bring you great baseball talk with special guest Cardinals great Todd Worrell. Live at Lowe's Friday night on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals, KMOX.
Chris and Amy show on KMOX, and it is Thursday, and it's 10:35, which means it is time to talk with our guy, Major Garrett, who is Chief Washington Correspondent for CBS News, author of The Big Truth, Upholding Democracy in the Age of the Big Lie, and there are 2 podcasts that are very good, The Agent of Betrayal and The Takeout, and Major Garrett is with us on the Quiver River Electric guest line. Good morning, Major.
Hello, how is everyone?
We're having a splendid day today, I would say. And, we've been talking about things that are going on in the city, but around the world, there is a lot happening. Let me start with D-Day, because this is the 80th anniversary of that invasion at Normandy. President Biden was in France and delivered some remarks this morning and said at one point he called Vladimir Putin. This is actually an interview. He called Putin a dictator. But while he was there, he spoke about, the threats that we are facing now, that democracy is facing around the world. Right. What did you think of his remarks today?
He rooted what happened as the Allies began to retake Europe at the Normandy beaches as akin to what may come if the West does not stand up to Vladimir Putin in Ukraine. And the president was very specific, as he has been in the past, about what is at stake for not just the United States, but for all of Western Europe and NATO in Ukraine. Meaning if Russia's invasion takes over Ukraine, abolishes a democratically elected government, makes that a Russian protectorate, if you will, Putin will not stop there. In the president's words, the next border line will be crossed by Russia, and we will find ourselves, meaning the West, in a situation reminiscent of World War II. That's not necessarily saying that all of Putin's ambitions are exactly the same as Adolf Hitler's, but they're close enough. And the president also made a rather larger, broader observation, which is other autocracies, powerful ones or ones trying to become more powerful, are watching what happens in Ukraine and will take their cues in the future if the West does not continue to protect Ukraine. And what's interesting in the backdrop of the president's remarks is the West is now taking steps to allow Ukraine to defend itself that it ruled out when this invasion began. All sorts of weapons have now been provided that were not provided initially because the West did not want to, quote unquote, provoke Russia or risk battlefield nuclear weapons being used in that conflict. Or the West would not allow Ukraine to fire into Russia to protect itself from Russian onslaughts. All of those things are now happening. So gradually, the confrontation over Ukraine has become more pronounced, and the West has been willing to take more and more risks in order to protect Ukraine. So my only point in underscoring that is it's not just rhetoric. Things that were unimaginable when this war started are now imaginable and being put into place in order to protect what is Ukraine from becoming a devoured part of an enlarged Russia.
Major, is there ever any Monday morning quarterbacking, you could say, when it comes to escalating the response as Russia continues its onslaught, saying maybe we should have been more aggressive earlier on, or no, because that might have provoked them even more? I can't wrap my brain around that.
It's very difficult, and I know that there is, in a sense, Monday morning quarterbacking, because the first belief, and this was articulated by British intelligence services, U.S. intelligence services, the French believed the same thing, that it was, if not likely, certainly more than probable that in that original thrust into Ukraine, the government could have fallen and Kyiv could have been toppled and the Russians could have succeeded within a week and a half or so, if not sooner. When that didn't happen, I think there was a kind of shock process that the West went through, that the Russians were disorganized, their equipment wasn't that great, and that they weren't this dominating force that they had assumed that they were. But that doesn't mean Russia could not inflict massive casualties, could not evolve its ways of dealing with the kind of things that cleverly and inventively the Ukrainians were able to use. And we're now at a sort of standoff grinding war where the Ukrainians, plucky and courageous as they are learning and training up on Western gear as rapidly as they can, putting it in the battlefield as rapidly as possible, pushing back the Russians where they can and holding on everywhere else. And I know at the Pentagon, they're like, well, if we'd maybe done this or that sooner, perhaps we could have tipped the scales. Certainly the Ukrainian leadership believes that. But as ever, the United States and its Western allies have been cautious for an understandable and comprehensible reason. Battlefield nuclear weapons are part of the Russian arsenal. Not only that, they're part of their battlefield operations. We don't use, or meaning the United States, doesn't imagine and doesn't have pieces of paper that say, yes, battlefield nuclear weapons are something we could deploy. We have them, but we don't talk about them in a strategic sense. That's how we could win a battle. The Russians do. So that's not an idle threat conceptually. And doing things to avoid that has always been the paramount concern of the United States and the Western allies. But they have taken more and more steps to give the Ukrainians more and more ability, more wherewithal to try to, if not win the war outright, force the Russians to negotiate in a way that allows Ukraine to maintain its sovereignty and not collapse. And I don't know when that's going to be. No one knows when that's going to be. But the Ukrainians this spring are now getting that next tranche of U.S. aid and European aid. They can fight through this summer, fight hard. So this war will continue.
In the 36 hours or so since the Wall Street Journal article came out about President Biden and people in meetings with him behind closed doors who are saying that, well, he's slipping, and they talked to a number of Republicans. The article says they spoke to 45 people about that. What has been the reaction since, and what is your take on it?
So the reaction has fallen on, sadly, predictable partisan alignments. There's tremendous, furious pushback from Democrats who say, prominent Democrats who say they were interviewed. The Wall Street Journal didn't quote them, even though they provided interviews to counter this narrative. Republicans are gleeful, say, well, what's Robert Hur, the special counsel, put in his report? It's not inconsistent with that. It's more confirmation of that. The Wall Street Journal stands by its reporting. My take on it is, with or without the Wall Street Journal story, this issue is topical and will remain topical through this entire campaign. It's unmovable. And it's something that the president can only address with his own performance. And behind the scenes, that's interesting, but the judgment the American people are going to make will be their own judgment in full visibility. The American people are not going to, the swing voters who are going to decide this election, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, are not going to make their determination based on a Wall Street Journal article. I don't care how many people the Wall Street Journal interviews, whether it's 90, and there are 15 Democrats who argue against the narrative that the president is slipping. People are going to make that determination themselves. And it's going to be informed not just by what they see of the president, but their own lived experience, possibly with an aging relative. And one of the truisms that makes all of this difficult for the president is because our country is aging and because more and more baby boomers are either taking care of, or Gen Xers or Gen Zers rather, are taking care of or preparing to take care of an aging relative, parent or otherwise. They have intimate lived experience with this. And that's a kind of knowledge and anxiety that you can't address in a 30-second commercial or any other way. But the president's going to have to figure out a way to not only convey that he's vigorous enough and not losing it now, but will be vigorous enough for 4 years. Because a presidential vote is not just for now. A presidential vote in every election is a projection, not just today, but 4 years from today, whenever that vote is cast. And that's the hill, figuratively and literally, the president has to climb politically to deal with this issue.
Major, who is on the takeout this week?
So the president did an executive order about the border this week. I'm sure you've been talking about it. That plunges immigration even deeper into the psyche of the country and to the policy debate for this presidential election. There's a new book out called The Truth About Immigration, and its author is a guy named Zeke Hernandez, who's a 20-year researcher in the field of immigration at Wharton. He's going to be our guest, and the essence of his book, which I just finished reading, is that the left and the right think they understand immigration. Neither understand the absolute truth about immigration. That's going to be our topic and discussion this week.
Major Garrett, you're the best. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, guys.
Major Garrett, Chief Washington Correspondent for CBS News. Those podcasts we talked about, The Takeout, which he just mentioned, and Agent of Betrayal, they are available on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Our show is available on the Odyssey app, and you should download it for free. And if you get your eyes checked at Ophthalmology Associates, you will see when you download the app that it's totally free and that you'll know how to use it. It's great. And yes, you need to get your eyes examined. Ophthalmology Associates, they are the doctors' doctors because over 250 doctors in the St. Louis area go to them to get their eyes examined. They're experts in all sorts of ailments of the eye, whether it's something more severe, whether it is something minor like dry eyes or salty tears, which apparently I have. They will help you figure out what you need to do in order to get that rectified. So just set up your appointment with one of the fantastic doctors, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Greg Birdie, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, or Samuel Berry. The phone number is this, 314-966-5000. That's 314-966-5000. They're on Manchester, just west of 270. You can also visit the website, youridoc.com.
Saturdays are made for soccer.
Parker elevated now ahead! And it's in! City lead!
Catch St. Louis City SC soccer anywhere you go on the Odyssey app.
Oh, Roman Berkey! A huge save! Oh, Roman Berkey!
Saturdays are made for soccer. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Together Credit Union, the exclusive banking partner of City SC and Academy of the Sacred Heart. Independent Sacred Heart education since 1818.
Hi, I am Jackie Brock, the wife of our beloved Lou Brock, St. Louis Cardinal legend and Hall of Famer. I have a new resident. I am so excited to tell you about Fairwinds River's Edge in St. Charles, Missouri. It is my new residence where I find everything for life and living. The staff is incredible, kind, warm, cordial, supportive, everything that you would want in an independent living community. The activities are innumerable, and we find the food the best in town. Call in today about the $99 move-in special, 636-754-2317. I'll see you there.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized with help from Beacon. I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are joined by Dr. Slade Stratton, dermatologic surgeon. What are the signs and symptoms of skin cancer?
You know, anything new, growing, changing. And on top of that, for sure, anything that it hurts, all should be concerns that, prompt you to go see your doctor.
Special thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Tune in to the Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Mosby Building Arts, Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX for expert advice on remodeling, design, and construction. This live Q&A show begins at 11 a.m. or find podcasts at mosbybuildingarts.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Did you see that thing? I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Are you freaking kidding me? No way!
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy?
Ranj, a family is telling the story of a harrowing experience they had at like an animal zoo safari in Texas. So they were on a drive-through safari in an open Jeep with their toddler.
I did see this.
Yes. Looks like maybe the toddler is not quite 2, maybe 2, pretty young. And it's in Texas, so they're not like on an actual safari. And the giraffes can eat out of your hand. So the giraffes come up to the cars and you hold out your hand and the giraffes can eat. Well, the giraffe comes over to the toddler, bites the back of the shirt of the toddler and lifts her up out of the car, tries to take the toddler out of the car. Now, it only happened in a split second, and the mom or the dad, whoever it was, grabbed the toddler, the giraffe let go and was like, what? Like, I didn't do anything wrong. And so, yeah, they got it all on video, and even the car behind them had it on video because, you know, a giraffe is right there, so people are taking pictures. That would be a bit terrifying. If your kid gets picked up by a giraffe,
okay,
you're not going to be able to reach it.
I know those are friendly. Yeah, if that giraffe decided to just walk away with a kid.
Yeah, you can't reach it. You stand up. The
put
giraffe
it up in a tree.
Oh.
It's like, I'm going to leave this baby here. The top of the tree. But don't you feel kind of, I don't know how I feel about these drive-through.
I know.
Like these animals are like, get out of here. You know,
I know. And they're wild animals. And I know this type of thing can be controversial. I do like when zoos are able to keep certain animals from becoming extinct, right?
Yes.
And encourage breeding. I don't know. The giraffe was just eating leaves, you know? I guess it wanted to show the baby its tree. Like, here, this is what the tree looks like from 20 feet in the air. The baby's okay. Everybody's okay. The giraffe dropped the baby right away. And like into his mom's arm. He didn't drop the baby.
Amy, did you see this? The story about a new STD.
No.
It is a sexually transmitted fungal infection. Has been detected in New York. It is the first case in the U.S. It is a highly contagious fungal disease. A man in his 30s developed it. It looks like a form of ringworm.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. It's called Trichophyton mentagrophites type 7.
Is
Something
this the
like
type
that.
is okay, now you know the cicadas STD is also a fungal infection and your genitals fall off.
Well, I don't think it's like that. But it does it's a rash that appears on the and also on your butt and your limbs. It can appear on your limbs too. So like and then there are photos of it on biceps. So this person had visited England, Greece, and had been in California. He apparently had a time. He was with people while he was there.
And all the places?
It doesn't say if it's all the places, but you need to be aware of a new sexually transmitted fungal infection, which seems like it's not great. It could they say it could take months to clear up.
Okay, that's disgusting. I feel like throwing up. But if you had to rate England, Greece, and California in order of the likelihood of where he got it.
See, don't do that to me.
Why?
Don't do that to me.
Why?
Because I'm going to say the wrong thing. Because I have to say California because I'm an American.
No, you don't. You can say
because
England.
If I say, Well, if I say that it's England, then I'm like, oh, you're saying they're filthy in England? I'm not saying that.
Well, maybe you are saying that. What about Greece?
It's probably Greece. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, so be careful. Be careful out there.
Be careful.
Be careful when you have sex. Be careful when you call us for the James Taylor tickets.
Which we're giving away because James Taylor is here tonight.
Tonight at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. We're not doing it right now, so don't start calling into the contest line yet, but we will let you know when it is your opportunity to see James Taylor. We have a pair of tickets to give away today. We'll do it before the show is over. Like I said, got to be listening for your chance to win. We have a conversation with a D-Day expert, a historian, John McManus, talking about the history of it, what it means moving forward, what we've learned about it since. That interview coming up next on KMOX.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
There is a reason why the signage says Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best, because they are the very best. And they have been doing fences, decks, patios, pergolas, and more for, 56 years now, a third-generation family-owned company. This is Debbie Monterey, and they did my fence. I have a beautiful wood fence from Chesterfield Fence and Deck, but they also do aluminum, vinyl, chain link, gates. They do decks, wood, and Vecca decking, which never needs painting. How about a beautiful sunroom or a four-season sunroom that you can enjoy all year long, or a screen room? You could even enclose your deck in with screens so the bugs don't get in. There's so many amazing things that Chesterfield Fence and Deck can do for you. And if you mention me, Debbie Monterey, in this month of June, they'll take 20% off your next outdoor project. It's Chesterfield Fence and Deck at chesterfieldfence.com. They are the sign you have the very best.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Paid for by government.com. Have you heard? A recent stash of 1902 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1902 silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 300 of these Morgan silver dollars are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-937-4707, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1902 Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic O mint mark of the New Orleans Mint, but with limited quantity. You must call now. These 1902 silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 122 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-937-4707. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-937-4707 now to secure your 1902 Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-937-4707.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, sun 79 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. President Biden has joined world leaders in France to mark D-Day's 80th anniversary and to remember how the Allies came together to defeat tyranny.
June 6, 1944.
From the sea and sky, nearly 160,000 Allied troops descended on Normandy.
The president met with several of the dwindling number of survivors. And at the American cemetery in Normandy, watched as more than 100 World War II veterans received a gun salute.
Au nom de la République française.
And the Legion of Honor from French President Emmanuel Macron.
You are back here today, at home.
The underlying message:
The Allied forces of D-Day did their duty.
Amid Russia's war in Ukraine, the president urged the world to live up to their example and leave another for future generations.
We saved democracy in our time as well.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Boeing's space capsule has sprung more helium leaks as it closes in on the International Space Station. Boeing and NASA continue to press ahead for a docking today with the space station. Boeing and NASA managers are confident they can manage the propulsion system despite the problem. This is Starliner's first test flight with the crew. St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore says he needs three things to run his office properly.
One is to be competitive on salaries. Two is resources to train his staff. And three, as he told KMOX on Total Information AM, is technology to handle an increased workload.
I'm asking for 60 attorneys to support twice the cases of what the circuit attorney's office typically has. And then the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we have technology that aids us in our work.
In his first year, Gore says his office reviewed 6,700 dormant cases left over from Kim Gardner's time, including 9 murders and hundreds of violent felonies. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
Can Battlehawks fans fill out the dome at America's Center? There could be 2 chances to find out. The first is Sunday's XFL Conference Championship between St. Louis and San Antonio. Then the dome will host the UFL Championship a week later. Here's UFL President Russ Brandon.
You know, this is a huge opportunity for St. Louis. It's a championship-type town, especially next week on June 16th if the Battlehawks are able to get in. But, you know, first things are first, and that's this week.
Season ticket holders have until tonight to secure their tickets to Sunday's conference championship. After that, those tickets will be released to the public. Listen to the game on 97.1 FM, powered by KMOX. Tom Ackerman and former Rams coach Mike Martz on the call starting at 5:30. The KMOX Business Desk, Lyft simplifies.
Lyft is focusing on, its CEO says, getting people out of their houses. Just rides. Now it expects to see that pay off in a 15% jump in what customers pay for services booked through Lyft, minus cancellation fees and refunds. That in the next 3 years, Lyft has told investors its ad business will grow 8-fold in the same time period. Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
Dow from Stifel up 44 points to 38,851. We have a 2-vehicle crash on 270 north at Olive that has been cleared. We're also watching some road work on 70 west at Wentzville Parkway. That's got the right lane closed, and also 44 east at Washington Avenue. The right lane is closed there.
Mostly sunny, breezy, and warm this afternoon with low humidity, high 85, then clear and comfortable tonight, low 62. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and very warm in the afternoon, high 87. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Right now, 79 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
It is the Chris and Amy show on KMOX, and it is time to go to the Quiver River Electric guest line. We are joined now by one of the foremost historians on the invasion of Normandy. Of course, the 80th anniversary of D-Day is this year. John McManus, a Curator's Distinguished Professor of U.S. Military History at the Missouri University of Science and Technology, and is a foremost historian on World War II. We appreciate you being with us today, John. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate that.
So I've always been very fascinated in this. World War II is fascinating for a lot of people, but this invasion in particular, this day is one of the most important days in the history of the world, really. Not just this country, but of the world. As we're here 80 years later, and I don't know how much more you can learn about D-Day as the years go on, but do you find that there are still things that we can learn or take from it, new things, as time goes on?
Yeah, I do. And that's one of the things that I find really fascinating about it. I mean, I think it's one of those very, very few dates in history that you can point to and say, well, this is a day when the world completely changed, when it was transformed. And from an American standpoint, at least symbolically, it's the beginning of the U.S. as a kind of a military, international, and economic and diplomatic superpower that of course remains today. So we have that legacy, but also, just terms how we look at it differently over time. Just in the last 20 some odd years or so, the Germans have been part of commemorations in Normandy. And so I think in that sort of longer sense, the Germans were weirdly being liberated too, so that wouldn't have happened, say, in 1954 or 1964. So yeah, I mean, it's like any history that in light of whatever current events are happening, we tend to reinterpret and look back at it a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's interesting too because so many of the younger generations have only known the war in Afghanistan where you're fighting a random guy in a cave and you're using drones. So this idea of storming the beaches in Normandy, it's something that you almost can't wrap your brain around, but especially for younger generations. And I had my fiance's son is 17 and he asked, would that fly today? How would that look if you knew you had all of these soldiers running onto the beach, knowing at least the first whole wave is going to lose their lives?
Well, hopefully not all of them, although it is, they are decimated. And the fortunate thing is the majority somehow did survive in spite of how bad it was. But it wouldn't. It's a little bit different, of course, in the 21st century wars in that you're facing a peer enemy on some levels. That Germany obviously was a very powerful country in control of a continent with highly developed infrastructure, advanced industry and weaponry and whatever. And so we knew this would be costly. And, we've kind of flirted with that in our post-war conflicts. In Korea, there's an equilibrium between the communists and the Western powers. And somewhat in Vietnam as well, but the 21st century being counterinsurgent wars, it's completely different. So, but I think the one thing, sort of to your fiance's son's point, one thing that's very different now is the willingness to accept casualties. The kind of casualties we suffer on D-Day, which is, something in the order at Omaha Beach, probably something in the order between 3,000 and 4,000. I'm approximating. I mean, now, just imagine that if we've got a dozen, that's a very big story, or even less. So that's one thing that has really changed quite a bit, I'd say.
So this is World War II went on for years and it spanned multiple different territories. It wasn't just in one place. Why did this particular day end up being so important in terms of it? And I think they knew going into it that this was going to be a very crucial battle. Why was it this one in particular? And on the other end, if it had not gone right, what would have happened if it didn't go down exactly as planned?
Yeah. So the first question, the Normandy invasion is really the pivot point of the whole war in Europe. You often hear it described as the turning point, but it's really not. I mean, the war had turned in the Allies' favor, and that's what allows us to invade in France. And now we control the air, we control the sea, we've got trained armies to do this and whatever else. And so it's kind of, once it does succeed, the beginning of the end for Germany, although you've got about a year or so of fighting that's, going to have to happen to make that, come to fruition. So I think it's really the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe. And I think that's why it stays with us today, because we can really relate to that. And it resonates on so many levels, is really important. In terms of the second part of the question, if it had failed, well, there's a lot of nightmare scenarios. On the political side of the house, the Churchill government certainly would have been in crisis. I mean, he's just presiding over a war cabinet. He wasn't elected to the prime ministership, technically. So that could have fractured. And who knows what kind of war policy Britain's going to have. We tend to look past the fact that in the United States, 1944 was a presidential election year. And so let's say you've got some kind of colossal fail at Normandy. It's possible that Franklin Roosevelt is not reelected. And maybe then that, calls into question whether we're going to prioritize the operations of Europe or whatever. Beyond that, let's say that the Soviets and the Germans cut a deal in the wake of this, and we're left on the outside with a half Nazi, half communist Europe, or the Soviets, quote, liberate Europe on their own, and you've got a communist Europe. But the last points in terms of these nightmare scenarios, it would have given the Germans more time to develop their wonder weapons like jet aircraft and rockets and whatnot. And what we call the Holocaust would have been substantially worse because the Allies would not have been able to liberate the concentration camps for a long time thereafter.
So on that scale of it didn't fail to perfectly executed, how much did that invasion go as planned?
I'd say it goes about 70% as planned, maybe. I mean, the things that don't go well are kind of doozies because the paratroopers, the American paratroopers especially, are really dropped and scattered and all over. Some of them, too many of them, because of the bad weather, because of German anti-aircraft. Omaha Beach, of course, famously ends up as a not according to plan thing, and because just all sorts of factors like the tides and timing and the stronger German opposition that we might have expected, things like that. But when we look at like the broad scale of the invasion, I really think it's quite amazing how well it all comes off. And the Allied leaders were worried that it would be, costlier than what it actually was. Overall, we suffer about 10,000 casualties, which is quite a bite, obviously. But when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of service people being involved, and only the beginning of this longer campaign, that's pretty successful.
And going back to what you mentioned earlier, the willingness to accept casualties, which is understandably a very difficult thing, that we might be less willing now than we were previously. Do you think it gets to a point that hesitancy or refusal to accept casualty gets us to a point where we might lose some of the freedoms, or people are maybe unaccustomed to what it takes to continue to fight off threats?
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword. That on some level, it's good that we don't want to accept casualties. I think maybe there's more humanity in that somehow. That we expect more from our leaders and our commanders. That they should be conserving human life maybe than they had been in wars past. But on another level, it really is kind of strategically confining. Let's say we fast forward to Eisenhower into the 21st century, and he can't really fulfill his larger war objectives because of overweening concerns over casualties. Well, that tells you that, the society doesn't quite have his heart in whatever war we're fighting. And so I tend to think, I never say never, but it's hard to imagine us accepting, casualties on that scale ever again. And as I mentioned, I have so mixed emotions about that because on one level, I think that's really good that maybe we'll stay out of wars and not fight. But if we have to, then, sometimes this can be really confining for whatever the larger war objectives are.
Well, you mentioned not doing it unilaterally and how important it is. I think that people have, especially Americans, have the sense that, well, we're the most powerful. We can do whatever we want, whenever we want. And America first and all of this, but it's not really, it doesn't really seem plausible to operate like that, right? Like we can't be that way, even militarily, even as good of a military as we have, right?
Absolutely. And the evidence of it is, how many places we have to end up involved in overseas and fighting overseas in various wars. How is that even possible without allies and partners? And so, the U.S. is powerful. But one of the things we find out, particularly after World War II, is what limits there are to U.S. power. We find that out in Korea. We find it out in Vietnam. My gosh, we find it out in the 21st century on some levels, too. And so I think that it just absolutely is to the advantage of the United States to continue what are very solid and strong and successful partnerships that brought results in the past. And then in some ways that's the key to whatever it is we're trying to achieve internationally, that maybe we have shared values with these partners. You certainly see that on D-Day. That's what's brought them together, mutual antipathy for Nazism. And of course, none of them have completely clean houses in terms of overall morality. The British with their empire, the U.S. with Jim Crow segregation or whatever. But in the end, they have a vision for a better world. And that brings them together in 1944. And I think it probably still does in 2024, too.
Just doing the math here, John, the reality is that, and this is probably something we don't think about enough, that veterans, D-Day veterans from around the world any of them who are alive now are about 100, right? I mean, we're talking about a whole group of people that we are losing by the day. Do we have an idea of just how many D-Day veterans are left, and in particular, American veterans?
I don't know the specific numbers, but it's only a handful. So, like, for instance, I'm about to go over to Europe to be part of a D-Day 80th anniversary cruise with the National World War II Museum. And we have several veterans on the cruise, but to my knowledge, I don't know that we have any D-Day veterans, which tells you something, because if we did, they would be there if we could possibly help it. So, like you said, Chris, I mean, they're 100 years old and up, most of them. And so, I can vouch for it too, personally. Everybody who I knew, all the veterans I knew are gone, unfortunately. And so it becomes a little daunting in the sense of the historians kind of have to tell their story and carry on. And believe me, that is a real sacred trust.
Yeah, it really is. And it makes you appreciate that. If we didn't appreciate them enough, this makes you do it even more, knowing that there are so few left. John McManus, we really appreciate this conversation. This is such a fascinating topic and an important date in world history. Thank you for giving us your time this week to talk about it.
Well, thanks for the invitation. It's been a real pleasure. I appreciate it.
John McManus, Curator's Distinguished Professor of U.S. Military History at the Missouri University of Science and Technology, also featured historian on the National World War II Museum's D-Day 80th Anniversary Cruise. That is John McManus. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
The St. Louis Battlehawks take to the field Sunday at the Dome for the XFL Conference Championship game against San Antonio. And you can hear the game live exclusively on 97.1 FM Talk. But select pregame at 5:30, kick at 6. The St. Louis Battlehawks. Caw is the law.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Rochelle talks about her experience with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
It was a wonderful experience. I had heard about them on the radio. They come out to your house. They let you know what they do. They let you pick out your features, your colors, and then they come into your home the morning they start. They walk you through, this is what's going to happen, and you leave for a few days, and you come home, and it's done.
Was it easy?
It made it easy because you're not in the middle of a mess for 2 or 3 months. Left on a Tuesday morning, and it was done on a Thursday night. We came home Friday morning early because we were so excited.
What was your reaction when you first saw it?
Wow.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Did you know you can unlock the equity from your current home and stay in it while you find your next home or while your new home is being built? Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis's real estate expert, can do that for you. Here's a problem that many home sellers find themselves in. They want to sell their home, but where will they move? Plus, they need the funds from their current home to go purchase the next home. Well, Gloria gets it. And that's why she created her Sell and Stay program, which lets you sell your home, get the cash, and stay in that home for up to 12 months. Gloria Liu thinks of every dilemma a home seller goes through and provides a guaranteed solution. If you need the cash from your current home to buy your next home, here's my recommendation. Call the agent I trust, Gloria Liu, and ask her about her Sell and Stay program. Call 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
If you had a crystal ball, you wouldn't agonize over when to sell your home. You'd just ask, should I sell while my home's value is sky high, or wait and hope the bottom doesn't drop out of the housing market? The thing is, I'm not ready to move. You don't need a crystal ball. With Truehold's Sell and Stay program, you can literally sell now and stay in your home as long as you like. When you sell your home to Truehold for its best current value, you can fully cash out your home's equity, and you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Truehold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance too. Truehold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get an offer now while your home's value is sky high, and use the money to secure your retirement, pay off bills, or finance your dreams. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's current best value without moving. That's Truehold.com. Truehold.com.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Diverse opinions, mutual respect. That's the politics you'll find at KMOX. Your connection to St. Louis and the region.
Chris and Amy show on KMOX. We're going to talk to Joe Roderick at the bottom of the hour, so right after the 11:30 news, about the Cardinals, who are beginning a homestand tonight after salvaging the finale of the series against the Astros. So that's coming up. Also, if you weren't aware, both Matthew Tkachuk and Jason Tatum are in the finals in their respective sports. So Tkachuk in the NHL final. You've got Tatum in the NBA finals, which begins tonight. He plays for the Boston Celtics. So we have the principal for Chaminade, where both guys went to school. So there's a high school in town that has two alum that are in finals right now, which is kind of cool.
Very exciting.
Isn't it? So we'll talk to the principal, Philip Rohn. He is going to join us at 12:30 today.
And I believe the NBA finals start tonight.
Yeah. Amy, I literally just said that.
Sorry. Well, I was thinking of the hockey. I was thinking of Matthew
That's Saturday.
Tkachuk the whole time. I know. I was thinking of.
All
I
you
knew
think
those
about
didn't
is
start.
hockey.
I know.
And you're a new NBA fan, so why don't you get your
I know,
crap together?
and that's the thing is I am going to watch the NBA finals for the first time in my life. But when you said Matthew Tkachuk, all I thought about was the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers and how it's going to be the longest commute for an NHL final ever. It's like a 6-hour flight, basically.
6-hour flight.
And Connor McDavid,
yeah,
finally in a final.
That
so
doesn't-
those are all the things that I was thinking about with Matthew Tkachuk.
See what happens when you listen? That starts on Saturday. So the NHL finals starts
Yeah.
on Saturday. NBA finals tonight. Jason Tatum is trying to win a championship. Speaking of championships, the XFL Conference Championship is Sunday.
Hot dog.
And the Battlehawks are in it, and it's here at the Dome. So obviously you can go to the Dome, theufl.com for tickets. That's what it's called, theufl.com for tickets. That's the website. Trying to pack that place so that they can win that game and then move on to the championship, which is also here in St. Louis at the Dome. Anyway, if you want to listen to it, Tom Ackerman will handle play-by-play with Mike Martz.
None other than Mike
Former
Martz.
Rams head coach and offensive coordinator Mike Martz. So it's Ackerman and Mike Martz on the call. That game will air on 97.1, our sister station. The Bud Select pregame show starts at 5:30 on 97.1 on Sunday.
And as Tom has noted, Mike Martz is the last coach to coach a professional football playoff game in St. Louis.
Which was 20 years ago? 20-something years ago.
Jeez Louise.
I think it was January of 2004.
Was it really that long ago?
It was at least 20 years.
Oh my gosh. Now
A
that's
professional
insane.
football playoff game.
Is it because we've talked about Stan Kroenke and the lawsuit? So there've been continual developments and then, rooting against the LA Rams and hoping the fans don't show up and then following the lawsuit and how will the money be spent, that it does not feel that long ago. It does not feel like 20 years. It feels like we had a team 5 years ago. We used to watch good football. I don't know. How has it been 20 years?
It's been 9 since we've had a football team. But it's been 20 since they've hosted a playoff game.
I remember you couldn't give away Rams tickets at the end. Yeah.
But you know what? They were still drawing like 55,000 people. They were still those tickets were sold. The paid attendance was still over 50, close to 55,000 in the final year when everybody knew they were leaving.
Here's what doesn't work. I mean, right. And they still showed up, as you mentioned. But you can't expect the fans to care more than the ownership and the ownership to say, well, it's okay if the team's terrible, but you guys need to show up.
Right.
Well, no, you need to care too.
Right. Oh, that's amazing when teams are doing it now.
Yeah.
Baseball teams do that. The Reds do it. The A's do it. The White Sox do it. They say, well, you guys aren't supporting us. Well, you stink.
And
why would I?
Yeah.
There used to be this thing. And I don't feel like it happens as much anymore, but there's an idea called fair weather fan, right? And it used to be that people would throw that in your face. They'd say, oh, you're just a fair weather fan. You only show up when they're good. I think fans have gotten smarter over the last 20 years, and they'll say, yeah, I'll show up if you put a good product out there because you're asking me to pay you money. It's expensive to go to a game. It's expensive to park. It's expensive to buy concessions. It's expensive to do all these things. It costs my time. So you want me to give you all of that, and you're not putting a good product on the field? Well, how about go to hell? And I think fans are smarter about that.
Yeah.
So the fair weather fan idea, I think, has kind of died a bit.
Well,
I think people get it now.
As I like to say, whether they win or lose, Miami Heat fans will be there if they win.
Sure. Never heard that one before. So, yeah, 97.1 has the conference championship this Sunday and then the UFL championship game if the Battlehawks make it. Tom Ackerman, Mike Martz, 97.1 on Sunday. It's Chris and Amy. Cardinals next on KMOX.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Fira Capital Management, formerly Heisey Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call Fira Capital Management today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 314-328-4400. That's 314-328-4400. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Fira Capital Management, 314-328-4400. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. Firm may not give tax advice.
There's an old joke about Uncle Sam's new tax short form. The first line says, how much did you make? The next line says, send it in. Really, not that funny, but that's what a lot of people do in retirement. They take money out of their 401k or IRA and end up sending it in when they pay taxes. Steve All of the All Financial Group invites you to take their tax challenge. What if your current plan included thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes and fees, or maybe higher Medicare premiums or a lower Social Security check? What if the savings you realized could allow you to retire early? Wouldn't you want to know about that right now? Take the All Financial Group Tax Challenge and find out. There's no charge. Call Steve today at 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
7:30 Sun 81 downtown at the Arch. Thruster problems on the service module causing a delay in the planned docking of Boeing's Starliner space capsule with the International Space Station. Here's Mission Control in Houston.
We were anticipating the earliest docking today for 11:15 a.m. Central Time, but
With that call, we will not be making this first docking window. The second of those windows opens at 12:33 p.m. Central Time.
And just so you're aware, we deactivated Mustang to help out Main B power margin.
This is the first flight of the Starliner capsule with people aboard. President Biden asked on ABC's Good Morning America whether American weapons supplied to Ukraine are being used inside Russia.
They're authorized to be used in proximity to the border. We're not authorizing strikes 200 miles into Russia. We're not authorizing strikes on Moscow.
Highs above 100 degrees are expected through at least the next 8 days in Las Vegas, including 111 today. Here's CBS's Ben Tracy.
All of this heat is coming much earlier in the season than it normally does. And this, of course, is part of this massive heat dome that is parked over the American West right now, impacting cities like Las Vegas, like Phoenix and Tucson, and then up through California's Central Valley.
We've got slow-moving roadwork on 367 South at Lindbergh. That's got the left lane closed. Also, roadwork that is happening on 70 East at Wentzville Parkway. That's got the right lane closed. And we've also got some more roadwork that's on 70 West at Wentzville Parkway, 44 East at Washington Avenue. That's got the right lane closed there. Sunny, breezy, and warm with a high of 85. Tonight, clear, low 62. For tomorrow's high, 87. Right now, it's 81 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from thegelmanteam.com. If you want immediate cash for your home or to see what your home is actually worth in today's market, find out for free from the local experts. That's my friends Mark and Neil Gelman at thegelmanteam.com.
The KMOX Studios, powered by Onder Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com.
That's GetJim.com.
When love gets hairy, call in an expert. Don't miss an all-new production of Rossini's The Barber of Seville, running May 25th through June 30th at Opera Theater of St. Louis. When the barber Figaro meets young Count Almaviva, he's determined to help him win the heart of the beautiful Rosina. A whirlwind of mistaken identities and cunning disguises ensues in this family-friendly comedy. Tickets start at just $25. Learn more at experienceopera.org.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for Your Retirement Highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized. With help from Beacon, I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
For everything St. Louis Cardinals, it's Cardinals Conversations. Use the Odyssey app or hear it on your favorite podcast platform. From game analysis, player and management interviews, it's exclusive Cardinals content from KMOX Sports, where the Redbird talk never stops.
On the stretch, here's the pitch. There's a line drive down the right field line. That's a fair ball. It's going to get the run in. Pages scores. Donovan, a wide turn, goes back to first base. And Donovan is able to break an 0 for 10, driving in his 26th run of the year. 2-0 Cardinals.
Today's Cardinals Report is brought to you by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family-owned and top-rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Cardinals were able to salvage the finale of the series against the Astros yesterday. They are back home at Busch Stadium tonight. They'll get going at 5:50 with a pregame show, and then we'll get going at 5:50 for the pregame show. Then they will get going at 6:45 for the first pitch. Sonny Gray is pitching against the Rockies at Busch tonight. Time to go to the Quiver River Electric guest line. We bring in Joe Roderick, who covers the Cardinals for Claves Online, and he is with us now on KMOX. What's up, Joe?
Hey, guys. How are you?
We're doing okay. The Cardinals are, they still, over the last 3 or so weeks, have, overall played better. The last 2 series, they dropped both of them. They dropped the series to the Phillies. They salvage a game there, do the same thing against the Astros here. So over the last week, what have you seen from them?
Well, the Phillies series, I kind of look at that as I did the first week or 2 of the season. The Phillies are the best team in baseball. I think losing 2 out of 3 to them isn't a reason to panic, isn't a reason to look at this being a setback from what they've done the last 3 weeks. That's just a really, really good baseball team that beat you. And you were able to squeak out that Sunday night game, which was, for me so far this year, was kind of the most exciting game, the most invested I've been in a game all year, just sitting there and watching all 10 innings of that game. So I really enjoyed that one. And against the Astros, it's a team that's, they're fighting, they're clawing to also try to get back to 500 and make something of this season the same way the Cardinals are. And for the first time this year, Jojo Romero just let you down in the bullpen. He's been lights out all year, and they finally got to him. And that's something with when they were on the hot streak, especially against the Cubs. You looked at Ryan Helsley. He got the saves against the Cubs, but they hit him really hard. So I was really happy to see that he was able to come out and get the save in 8 pitches yesterday. So I kind of, I'd like to see another 3-week stretch of some really good baseball. I think if you look at their schedule, the next 5 weeks, the Braves are thrown in there at some point. But outside of that, it's a lot of teams that they should be able to beat and hopefully try to get to 3-5 games over 500 around the All-Star break, and then kind of take a look from there and see what kind of team you are before the trade deadline rolls around.
Miles, I'm sorry, Amy. Go ahead.
I was going to say Miles Michaelis, and you might be going the same way. He didn't get the win, didn't make it to 7 innings, but had a really strong showing yesterday. What do you make of his performance, and were you surprised they took him out when they did?
A little bit, just because the bullpen kind of got taxed the day before. I thought if you could squeeze a 7th inning out of Miles Michaelis, yesterday would have been that game to get it. But they were there a third time through the order for the Astros, a really good offensive Astros team. I am very happy that we don't have to see Yordan Alvarez again the rest of this season in facing the Cardinals, because that boy can hit. And I said before the series started, I really was hoping that we would just see him with bases empty every time up. And sure enough, in game 2 of the series, he hit that 2-run home run, and you just kind of have to, bow your head and give it to him, because he is such a good hitter. But it'd be nice to see Miles kind of become that third starter, that top 3 starter in your rotation. Right now, he's kind of a liability. He's that 4th starter that, when you look at how you rank the 5 they have in the rotation, Miles is not the guy that you were hoping you get at the beginning of the year. He's not that opening day starter. He's not that top of the line guy. Luckily, all 3 free agents that you signed have all stepped up and done exactly what you expected them to do this year. And so far, that's what's put the Cardinals in the position they are in the standings.
The All-Star voting for the substitutes is now open. Cardinals have already put out a list of players that you can go to cardinals.com/all-star and vote for who you think should get in. Beyond Ryan Helsley, that seems to be, and maybe you have a different idea, but Ryan Helsley seems to be the one guy that most people think is the most deserving Cardinal to be in the All-Star game. What are your thoughts? How many All-Stars does this team have?
If Wilson Contreras didn't get hurt, I think Wilson Contreras was on his way to being an All-Star, but he won't be back until about the All-Star break. So I think he's out of the question for it. I wonder if Nolan Gorman can put himself in that conversation with the way that he hit this past road trip. If he can keep that going, I think Nolan Gorman has a shot to maybe sneak in there. And I'd have to kind of look and see what other second basemen there are in the National League right now and who his competition would be for that. But with his stretch this past week, he's second in the National League in home runs right now. He's tied, I think, with Shohei and is it Freddie Freeman? I think Marcell Ozuna is the only National League player that has more home runs than Nolan Gorman. So my prediction at the beginning of the year was that Nolan Gorman was going to be in the home run derby. And I think if he keeps this up, maybe he does represent the Cardinals in the home run derby, but it sure would be nice to see him get some acknowledgement in the All-Star game too.
The month of May was outstanding for Gorman. He was so productive. He struck out a lot, which is probably going to happen. But are we seeing a breakout for him, or do you see a coming back to earth a bit?
It boggles my mind what kind of hitter he is. And I think when you look day to day in the lineup too, I don't know if Ali Marmol knows what kind of hitter he is, because with the power he has, he should be hitting third. He should be hitting or third or fourth in that lineup, right around Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado. But then you see some matchups. I mean, I still don't think they trust him against lefties. They'll bat him seventh or eighth in the lineup against lefties. I think to start the year, it sure seemed, especially with Lars Nootbaar hurt, at the start of the year, they wanted him to be your everyday number 3 hitter. And right now, I don't know if they can fully trust him to be there. And that's where they want him to be. He's going to need to continue that hot streak into June if that's where he's going to land in this lineup every day.
Speaking of coming back to earth, the Brewers still 6 games ahead of the Cardinals. Obviously, for all we talk about their record, it just comes down to that division. Do you see the Brewers continuing this pace of wins that they're on right now, or do you see them maybe dropping back a chance, which would obviously help the Cardinals try to catch up?
Oh, I think they're absolutely going to come back down to earth. That's a team that I had absolutely no faith in at the beginning of the year. I didn't understand how all the pundits thought they were as good as they were. When you look at everything they either traded away or just didn't re-sign this offseason, I don't think their starting pitching can last the full year, and with their bullpen being a little beat up too. No, that they're gonna fall back down to earth. They're gonna give the Cubs and the Cardinals a chance to take the division.
So tonight begins that series against the Rockies. This is not a particularly good team. The Pittsburgh Pirates have not been especially good this season either. It seems like the next 2 series, Joe, this is the time that you could make up some ground if everything goes well.
Is it too much to ask to say that they need to have a 4-game sweep here? I mean, I know that's a lot, but the Rockies are not good at all. And you have Sonny Gray going tonight. He needs to set the table. And if ever you were to call your shot and say that they need a 4-game sweep, I mean, this is it, right? That's
Joe, I'll tell you what, if they lose tonight, I'm coming to your house.
I am looking forward, by the way. Tuesday, Paul Skeens is pitching against the Cardinals at Busch. That's one that if you want to go out there, if it's a Tuesday night, if it's nice out on Tuesday, head down to Busch and watch Paul Skeens pitch in person. I actually went up to Wrigley when he pitched there a few weekends ago. It was a Friday 1:00 game. I took my kid out of school. We drove up to Wrigley for the day and watched it. And he went 6 innings of no-hit ball with 11 strikeouts. And I think we both walked away and we're like, you know what? That was worth 10 hours in the car for the day.
You just went up there to go find Livy Dunn.
She was not there.
She wasn't?
And Chris, no, she was. I think that was I'm not trying to sound like a stalker or anything, but I believe there was the SI swimsuit thing was going on in New York, and I think she was there at that. But I mean, Chris, you know better than anybody. There's not a whole lot of like suites and everything up at Wrigley Field. So I mean, she would have been right there amongst the crowd. Probably.
Can we just, for people like me who have no idea who Livy Dunn is?
She is a gigantic influencer.
She's the Taylor Swift of Major League Baseball. That's what they're trying to make her into.
Yeah. Well,
is she a gymnast?
Yes, at LSU. I don't know if she graduated.
Because I think she advertises for Vuori now.
She's been I've seen her in commercials like 4 or 5 years back.
Just-
so she's been an influencer for a while.
Gotcha. Just letting people know in case they're like, who in the world is Livy Dunn?
Yeah.
Now they know
You can
she's
go
an
look her up.
influencer who these guys follow.
Joe Roderick. I don't know how you don't. If you follow
I know
sports at all,
Viore.
there's no way to not know who Livy Dunn is.
I know. I don't know her from baseball. I literally only know her because of the Viore ads.
No.
She does like a
and now,
backflip.
with Paul, and the Pirates, I think, timed it right to where she graduated, and just around that time, after she graduated college, they're like, oh, we need to call Paul Skeens up now so they can have her in attendance. The first game that he pitched, they were right there in the box with her interviewing her mid game. So they're trying real hard to make Paul Skeens, Livy Dunn into the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift of Major League Baseball.
Got it.
Yeah, she's got like 5 million Instagram followers.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, Joe Roderick, we will catch your coverage on Claibs Online. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Joe Roderick talking Cardinals with us on KMOX. I think we should get to the bottom of this heat dome.
Oh my gosh.
I'd love to get outside of it. We're not in it, but I would like to know if it will have anything to do with us. Is it moving this direction? Is it just staying over the southwest of the United States? How bad is our summer going to be? I feel like it's going to suck. So we're going to
with
find
an
out.
attitude like that,
I can't fix the weather. Maybe, you know who could? AccuWeather meteorologist Carrie Schwindenhammer will join us next on KMOX.
well, you may not be able to handle the weather or control the weather, but you can control the stinging insects in your yard, which ruin your parties, and the moles, which will ruin your lawn. And here's how you do that. You call Rottler, 877-ROTTLER, or visit rottler.com. We've all been there. We're having a picnic, a barbecue, and then like everyone starts screaming because there's a bee or a wasp and it's freaking everybody out. Well, they can also cause damage to your home. Carpenter bees actually bore holes into decks and other wood structures, and bees and wasps also build nests in wall voids, and they create holes so they can enter and exit, and that compromises the wooden structure that they are in. And so in order to avoid both like the screaming at the parties and also damage to your home, you need to call Rottler. And the same with moles. They can take care of moles. They have a highly effective mole elimination program, year-round warranted protection, and you don't even have to be home for them to do the service. 877-ROTTLER or rottler.com.
Pompeu. He lost just outside E.T. Pompeu. Fire!
Celio Pompeu headlines the KMOX Soccer Showcase, presented by Michelob Ultra, Thursday, June 13th at Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill in Wentzville. A limited number of fans can come get an autograph or picture. Enjoy great food and a cold drink. City midfielder Celio Pompeu at Hot Shots in Wentzville, Thursday, June 13th. Presented by Michelob Ultra and Together Credit Union. Details at KMOX.com/events.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
A roller coaster ride of banter and brilliance. Chris and Amy on KMOX.
It's warm today in St. Louis. It is hot in the southwest part of the United States. Nevada, California, Arizona. They are getting it right now because of a thing called the heat dome. And I have questions about the heat dome. So does Amy Marks-Kors. Chris Ranji with you. It is time to go to the Quiver River Electric guest line. And we are joined by Carrie Schwindenhammer, AccuWeather meteorologist, who joins us now on KMOX. Carrie, thank you for the information today. We have so many questions to ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's start with what the hell's a heat dome, and is it coming this way? Does it move?
A heat dome more or less is when the jet stream lifts so far to the north that you end up getting this heat that builds and surges northward from the typical regions where the heat normally would be located. We have a huge high-pressure system that's been dominating the western United States, and that's been allowing that heat to build and surge northward. In fact, we're seeing temperatures 10 to 20 degrees above the historical average as far north as portions of Oregon, Idaho, and even Wyoming as well. I do think this ridge will start to break down a little bit as we head through the next several days, to the point that eventually we're going to see a little bit of cooling out west. But I think as far as any impacts on us are concerned, it's probably going to wait until sometime later next week before we start to see temperatures getting back up to near that 90-degree mark.
So if it has to do with the jet stream, is this a climate phenomenon or a jet stream phenomenon, or are they kind of the same thing?
You know, a lot of times we have a tendency to attribute any one individual thing to climate change. And what I usually say is that it's hard to really draw a parallel between that specific event and climate change. Now, the climate, of course, does play a role in things like your warm ocean waters being warmer than they used to be, and systems developing and strengthening more than they used to be. In this case here, if we break it down quite simply, we're going to see domes like this that form. This certainly isn't some of the extreme heat that we could, of course, be seeing at this time of year and over the summer. And to be honest with you, the ridge is not terribly strong the farther north you go. But again, you're going to start to see it breaking down a little here and there as these disturbances roll on through portions of the Rockies and try to break it down. But the ridge still tends to dominate as we head through the weekend across the western United States, maybe builds back up again by the end. But there will be another disturbance that comes on through the Pacific Northwest and into California, and that'll certainly bring some cooling. That'll shove that ridge eastward. And I think at least for a day or two, we'll see some temperatures up around the 90-degree mark as we head through later next week.
Well, we know that the climate change thing is happening, whether or not people want to admit it. What I'm wondering, though, is it seems for the last several years, every single year has been, well, this is the hottest. Nope, now this is the hottest. Well, this year is the hottest now. Is that trend going to continue, or will we ever see, one of those years where it's just not so bad? Like we have winters where bad winter, good winter, that sort of thing. Are we ever going to go back to that?
That's $1 million question, and one that probably requires more of a deep dive into the data. I'm sure we're going to have some years that don't necessarily show up in the top five. I don't necessarily think that every year is going to be progressively hotter than the previous one, but there's a general trend that you can see in the data that supports the fact that the planet's we're looking at warmer conditions generally over the period of time, and that's really what's more concerning, as opposed to any one year being a top 5 year. We look at that data over a long period of time. You could have, I'm very interested, but not an expert in volcanoes by any stretch. However, I'll watch some episodes that pertain to Yellowstone, which is considered a supervolcano, and they talk about if that were to erupt one day, and believe it or not, that is a possibility, that it could have a massive cooling effect on not only the United States but on the world. So there's different things that can come into play. So I think we're going to see some years that maybe aren't quite as hot, but in general, the trend is upward, and that seems to be continuing.
And I know we've got a few seconds here, but I know there were record temperatures in Delhi in India like last week as well. Is this just totally unrelated that halfway across the world they're also experiencing higher temperatures?
There are things that can be unrelated, and then there are things that are related. And what I mean by that is, there are general waves and ridges and troughs in the overall world pattern. And sometimes you can get a dip in the U.S. In the eastern part of the country that might mean something for Europe 5, 6, 7, 8 days down the road. So there's probably at least some tie-in between where the heat might show up across the other side of the world and where it is here. But there's also other smaller scale factors that play into that as well. So, I wouldn't be shocked if there's some tie-in there, but there's also going to be cases where you may not see that pattern relate. But that's one of the things that some of our longer range team members do is they take a look at some of these patterns down the road. What might be happening in Eastern Asia, and that might be an early indicator of what's going to happen 7 to 10 days down the road in parts of the U.S.
Carrie Schwindenhammer, AccuWeather meteorologist. Thank you for the information.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to get hot. It's warm here, and I don't like it.
Well, it's 126 degrees in Delhi.
Just forget it.
126 degrees.
Forget it.
And it's humid there, too. It's not even a dry heat. In Arizona, they're like,
gross.
wow, it's a dry heat.
Ugh.
This
Pass.
guy. Pass.
Amy Marks Core's Chris Ranji will give you the news as we see it next on KMOX.
This summer is about to get hot, and you'll look the part in the Cardinals all-over print shirt. Head to the ballpark on Friday, June 7th to see the Cardinals host the Rockies. That night, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home their own stadium-exclusive Cardinals all-over print shirt, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Walmart. Great seats remain. Secure yours today at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Miles Michaelis. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Hey kids, you will not want to miss the Cardinals one-of-a-kind jersey giveaway coming up on Sunday, June 9th. That day, the Cardinals host the Rockies, and 10,000 kids ages 15 and younger entering with a ticket will take home their very own neon Cardinals jersey, thanks to High Chew. That's not all. Following the game, kids 15 and younger can participate in the High Chew Kids Run the Bases. For tickets or more details, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Sonny Gray, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
Cardinal Cowboy here for Renner Garage Door, serving St. Louis and surrounding areas since 1966. We does all applications of garage door and LiftMaster openers. RENNER, forward and back. RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, the garage door company that does. Giddy up!
When it comes to retirement, you don't need to worry or sweat the small stuff if you have Sachs Financial on your side. Sachs Financial, home of the Retirement Compensation Plan. SACHS, Sachs Financial, because income is the outcome that matters. RetireSafeSTL.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
All right, this has nothing to do with air conditioning. I know, like I make commercials about goofy stuff like cicadas or anything. But you know what I mean. But everybody's supposed to go to the dentist at certain intervals, like 6 months or at least once a year, but we don't. And the reason we don't is when you go there, it hurts. I have a very, very good tip for you. Yenzer Family Dental. Yenzer, YENZER, Family Dental. It might be a drive. I go there. If he's taking clients, I'm in their book. Full disclosure, he is a brother-in-law, but it's 10 years of an anniversary of 10 years of his private practice and all state-of-the-art stuff. And it is painless. If I say it's painless, pretty painless. Yenzer Family Dental.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles.
Highly logical.
Learn about Navien's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized. With help from Beacon, I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you why pay more than 4. In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many market's ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444, 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than 4?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Just imagine being walked all over for 36 years. Who would do that? The great customers of Reinhold Flooring, that's who. For over 3.5 decades, Reinhold Flooring has been the mecca for carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and area rugs. Reinhold Flooring is customer-driven with a focus on top-quality products and installations from the best team in the business. So come on in and walk all over your next flooring at Reinhold Flooring. Visit them at 5429 Telegraph Road in St. Louis or online at reinholdflooring.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
1 minute after noon, we've got a sunny sky, 82 degrees downtown at the Arch. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts. michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Our top story this hour, the heroes of World War II, both those who died and those who survived, are being honored today in ceremonies marking 80 years since D-Day, the start of the Allied invasion against Nazi Germany that led to the end of the war in Europe. Elaine Cobb is in Normandy, France.
President Biden and the First Lady bowed their heads in front of a wreath at the American cemetery overlooking Omaha Beach, where more than 9,000 U.S. soldiers are buried.
Monsieur Bill Casasa.
Earlier, he was joined by French President Emmanuel Macron, who bestowed the Legion of Honor, France's highest award, on 11 U.S. World War II veterans.
Russia was not invited to the commemorations, even though it was a key ally during World War II because of its war against Ukraine.
Starliner Houston, we'd like to...
Problems for Starliner, Boeing's new private sector space capsule, meant no docking with the International Space Station last hour. Here's audio from Mission Control in Houston.
We were tracking an initial docking time of 11:15 a.m. Central Time. We will not dock during this during this current docking window. The next docking opportunity opens at 12:33 p.m. Central Time. That window closes at 1:19 p.m. Central Time. The crew is currently backing away from the 200-meter radius known as the Keep Out Sphere at the International Space Station. They will hold at about 250 meters away.
The problems have to do with the thrusters that allow the craft to control its movement. This is Starliner's first flight with people aboard. We're learning more about the new police station to be built in Maryland Heights.
I'm Stuart McMillan. The new public safety complex near Rankin Jordan Hospital is going to be named after fallen officer Antonio Valentine, who died in the line of duty in 2021. His widow, Susan Valentine, shared with me her feelings of having the new building named after her late husband.
It's really just a huge honor for Tony's name to live on and for his kids and community to see. We're very pleased and honored to have it.
The state provided $23 million in ARPA funds, and the county did a 100% match. Construction is expected to be complete by May 2026.
Time to vote.
The 2024 MLB All-Star ballot is out, and there are 9 Cardinals listed. Wilson Contreras at catcher, Paul Goldschmidt at first base, Nolan Gorman at second, Nolan Arenado at third. Mason Wynn, his first appearance on the ballot, the rookie at shortstop. 3 outfielders, Brendan Donovan, Michael Ciani, Lars Nootbaar, with Ciani making his first appearance, and DH Alec Burleson. You can visit cardinals.com/all-star, the MLB app, or the MLB Ballpark app to cast your ballot. Tom Ackerman, KMOX Sports.
The KMOX Business Desk, a rideshare service, gives up on trading employees.
The New York-based ride-hailing startup Revel will follow the Uber and Lyft model. It plans to lay off its 1,000-plus drivers and run a gig work model instead. Drivers will have the option of staying as independent contractors starting in September. Joan Doniger, Bloomberg Radio.
Dow from Stifel up 23 points to 38,830. Road work on 367 south at Lindbergh. Left lane closed. 70 east at Wentzville Parkway. Right lane is closed.
Plenty of sunshine this afternoon, breezy and warm, but with low humidity, high 85. It'll be clear and comfortable tonight, though 62. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and very warm with a high of 87. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got sun, 81 in Forest, and St. Peter's, and 82 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Chris and Amy show on KMOX. We still have the James Taylor tickets to give away. Got to be listening for your chance to win. We will tell you when that is. By the way, he is performing tonight at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. So it'll be sort of a last minute thing for you. You're going to get these tickets, maybe, and you'll go, hey, want to go to the concert tonight? I got tickets. Wow, I won them at KMOX. They're the best. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji. I love them so much. Why don't they hang out with us? That's what they'll say.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that before the show's over. We also want to remind you about Celio Pompeo from City SC headlining the KMOX Soccer Showcase, which is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. So Michelob Ultra on Thursday, a week from today, June 13th at Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill in Wentzville. Limited number of fans can come meet Celio, get an autograph. You can also register to win some prizes. Autographs start at 6 o'clock. Again, this is all at Hot Shots in Wentzville, June 13th, brought to you by Michelob Ultra and Together Credit Union. That will be a really fun thing for you to do. Today, Amy, is the 80th anniversary of D-Day in Normandy. Many political leaders are there, including President Biden. President Zelensky is there. Prince William is there. Obviously, Emmanuel Macron. So you have this, what is honoring the invasion of Normandy, one of the most important days in the history of humankind. And it is being honored today because we don't have that many D-Day veterans left. In fact, a couple of dozen of them, they believe, are in attendance for today anyway. So this is a monumental day. On ABC News, an interview that aired earlier this morning, there was an interview done with President Biden about threats that the West is facing. And as we know, there was a shipment of arms that has been delivered, more going to be delivered to Ukraine. And the question posed to President Biden was, Vladimir Putin has said that the delivery of those weapons means that the United States is involved in the war. And the question to him was, are you concerned about Vladimir Putin?
I've known him for over 40 years. He's concerned me for 40 years. He's not a decent man. He's a dictator, and he's struggling to make sure he holds this country together while still keeping this assault going. We're not talking about giving them weapons to strike Moscow, to strike the Kremlin, to strike just across the border where they're receiving significant fire from conventional weapons used by the Russians to go into Ukraine to kill Ukrainians.
Yeah, and I don't think what he's saying there is wrong. I think Putin is clearly a dictator. He has those sorts of ambitions, and I don't think he wants to stop at Ukraine.
Well, no, I mean, he's a war criminal. He's a former KGB agent. He said the most tragic event in world history was the dissolution and fall of the Soviet Union. He's trying to recreate that. The president's right. Not the point, but quick note, he did sound particularly a little frail. Has he been talking like that all the time? That sounded extra, almost hard to hear, the president.
I don't know. I didn't really think much about it, to be honest.
Yes. Well, it did strike me a bit. Again, slightly distracting, but what he said about Putin, absolutely right. Well, we talked about the anniversary of D-Day, the 80th anniversary today. We also had in St. Louis, right here at Studio B, the St. Louis Circuit Attorney, Gabe Gore, joined Tom Ackerman and Debbie Monterey this morning to talk about crime in St. Louis as well as the perception of crime.
We just have to, continue what we're doing. I think what Chief Tracy is doing in terms of his enforcement strategies and the things that we're focusing on in terms of really trying to focus on that small group of individuals who really engage in most of the violent crime. We just got to keep doing that work. I do think there's a lag of perception to reality. I'm downtown every day, work down here, spend 12 hours every day downtown, and I feel like downtown is safe. I know that when we think about the neighborhoods that are high crime neighborhoods that we really need to focus on and get under control, downtown's not on that list, but I know that there's a perception out there that downtown isn't safe.
Yeah, the perception's there. And I think part of this, it's perception because in some ways it's true. And what I mean by that is we've seen crime in the middle of the day or mid-morning on prime intersections where people are walking around, like 14th and Clark. But the key word he used there was lag, how you can start to turn crime around and decrease incidents of violent crime, but the public's perception will always be behind that. It takes a while of better numbers, fewer crimes before people realize that.
I think that's true with the economy too. It's the same sort of thing. The economy can be good for 6 to 8 or even 6 to 8 months or even a year, and people still think that it is not going well. Maybe the only exception was as soon as COVID hit, it seems like it took a hit pretty much immediately. That people thought, oh God, everything's terrible now.
Because everything shut down
everything
immediately.
shut down. Well, it was crazy because people were spending during COVID too.
And here's what I'll say too about the perception of crime and crime. We got to have people and businesses and restaurants. I think that's the thing. If St. Louis continues to hemorrhage residents and continue to drop well below 300,000 people, if restaurants and shops continue to close, you could say there's no crime. But if there's nothing to do and no one's down here, all you're going to see is crime. We need other things. We need more people.
In Indianapolis, happening next week, about a week or so from now, it is the swim trials for the Olympic team. The U.S. Olympic team are holding their swim trials. So they decided to have those trials at the Lucas Oil building where the Indianapolis Colts play. Minneapolis and St. Louis also put in a bid for this, and this process goes back a couple of years. They chose not to come to St. Louis. They are in Indy, as I mentioned, and it made us talk or think about what's going on in St. Louis, going on with the Dome, which is likely where the event would have been. As you may have seen the story from this week that the expansion of the convention center downtown and the improvements made to it and the projections are already low, that what they are looking at now is at least $40 million over budget in trying to expand the Dome and make the convention center just a better place and a more appealing place to have events. So that against the backdrop of Indianapolis winning the bid for these Olympic trials, I know we've had events here, Amy. We had the Frozen Four. We've had the gymnastics regional event that occurred here.
And we had the gymnastics Olympic team trials in 2021 at the Dome, which set records for attendance for a gymnastics team trials.
So we have those things, right? But it feels like we need to get more. You're talking about getting more in the city of St. Louis, more events, more people, more things going on, make it more attractive for those from the outside to want to hold events or attend events here. And it's somewhat discouraging to hear that we're already $40 million over budget. Not exactly sure what's going to happen with the Dome, but also part of me thinks this happens all the time with projects where they say it's going to cost this much money. Oh, wait, no, it's going to be 40 million more or 50 million more or 100 million more, way more than projections.
Yeah, and when you look at Indianapolis and the expansion of their convention center and facilities, I mean, I think it was something over 1 billion. It might have been like 1.6 billion. It was a lot of money, but they have leaned into becoming the city that they are. As a whole, the city of Indianapolis dumped a ton of money into convention centers and hotels and bringing sports and events to their city. And they did. They beat us out for the Olympic swimming trials, the Olympic trials for swimming. But I think here's where I get frustrated because I've poo-pooed the expansion of the convention center because it's always, I think a lot of times these things are posited like, it's going to fix St. Louis, the convention center. It's like that's the thing that's going to fix it. But what I think it is, and I need to watch myself for not putting down or trivializing the expansion of the convention center. It has to be everyone all at once, whether it's law enforcement, the circuit attorney's office, like Gabe Gore, prosecuting crimes, the police being enabled to do their job, and money being poured into the convention center, and businesses coming down here. Because we saw with Enterprise, if they didn't do the renovations they did, we wouldn't have gotten those events. So instead of poo-pooing the convention center, it needs to be a yes and.
Yes,
and what
I
are we
think
doing?
that's exactly right. I want to disagree with you, but you're exactly where I am on this. I believe that we have to stop with the attitude of, oh, yeah, that's what's going to. Well, no, it's not just that. It's that and a better circuit attorney and fixing potholes and taking care of all these things. All of it has to happen at once, and it's going to take a collective effort to do it. More headlines for you. The news as we see it. Coming up next on KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been hurt on the job, you need the best. Onder Law. Hurt on the job? Call Onder Law today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-403-5569 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-403-5569. That's 800-403-5569. What do you have to lose? Call 800-403-5569. Again, 800-403-5569.
If you're thinking about selling your home, I'm sure there are two things that you want: certainty and the most money, right? This is Debbie Monterey, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know that the agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis's real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first call when looking for an agent. Gloria does not make empty promises. She provides written guarantees. What does that mean for you? Certainty. Certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she will buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis's real estate expert Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's. Save $40 on select 5-gallon HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams paint, like Weather Shield, Showcase, or ceiling paint. Plus, save $10 on drywall PVA primer and get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Offers valid through 6/14. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Navigating politics with a balanced perspective, fostering discussions, not arguments. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Remember that summer of 2020, Amy, where people were protesting around the country following the George Floyd killing, and you saw protests not just around the country, but there were people protesting around the world. Well, we know that it got a little heated in parts of St. Louis, and people were walking about throughout the city, and you could call it, some people would call it rioting. I don't know if it was quite reached that level, but there were some things that should not have happened as people were protesting, and they went through a Central West End neighborhood right in front of Mark McCloskey and his wife. You remember the McCloskeys?
Of course.
Well, so a judge on Wednesday expunged the misdemeanor convictions of McCloskey, and his wife. They were pardoned for taking their guns. He had an assault-style weapon. She had a handgun, and they were sort of pointing it menacingly in the direction of the people who were coming through the neighborhood, and it broke through the gate there in that private neighborhood. He is now demanding that the city cough up his guns. Otherwise, he is going to file another lawsuit.
Well, I mean, if the case has been expunged, then yeah, I mean, give the guy his guns back. There's no reason for him not to have his guns. And listen, I get it. The McCloskeys are just distasteful. And Mrs. McCloskey having her finger on the trigger, like in that little gun, that was the worst part. That's not how you hold a gun. And of course, she was barefoot in her Hamburglar shirt. Again, aesthetics, but it was too easy, right, to make fun of. However, and heaven forbid that I sound like I'm Team McCloskey, but I would say there were protests that were genuine, and then there were a lot of riots, and a lot of them, the riots were outside actors and criminals. I get it, but in the city of St. Louis, and even in specifically the Central West End, there were protesters who caused damage to buildings and intimidated leaders. For instance, the mayor at the time, Lyda Krewson, protesters, and they were protesters, marched and chanted through her neighborhood to her house, opened up gallon paint cans, like opened them just a little bit. So when they threw them through her windows, it would break her windows, spill open, and ruin everything inside. So if I were the McCloskeys, having watched the news and seen a lot of things burned down, and knowing my neighbor, the mayor down the street, had her windows broken, I probably would have been terrified. And would have had the whole castle doctrine, stand your ground type thing.
You remember after they were charged, it was about a year later, the governor, Mike Parson, he pardoned the couple from those crimes. And again, those things have been expunged from their record. So, yeah, I mean, I think I understand people were worried probably about their property at the time. And I get that. That's a valid concern. But in that particular moment, I'm not sure bringing those weapons out and being as menacing as they were was the right thing.
Yeah.
Her with a finger on the trigger.
That was irresponsible.
Because they could have gone off
yeah.
on accident very easily. Anybody who, I don't know that much about guns, and I know that you don't do that.
And I will say this, like I said, I would have been terrified. There's a picture that everyone sends us whenever we talk about this, and they're like, see this, and they circle this like kind of black piece of equipment, and they go, this looks like an automatic weapon. If you zoom out, ladies and gentlemen, it's a mic boom. It's not a weapon. Oh, yeah. I just want to make that clear before everyone sends me that picture.
The person in the crowd.
Yes, there's a person in the crowd, and they're like, it looks like a weapon. It's a microphone boom. It's fine. Okay, another story actually that we've talked about a lot here, the Jana Elementary and the radioactive waste there that was found from when a private company came and looked and found radioactive contamination inside the building and on the playgrounds. The Army Corps of Engineers in St. Louis has moved now more than 2 Olympic-size swimming pools worth of soil contaminated with radioactive waste from around Jana Elementary, which is in North St. Louis County. The school is closed. There's no plan to reopen the school. And officials from the Hazelwood School District, if you remember, closed Jana Elementary in 2022 after a private firm found radioactive contamination inside the school. There was some controversy there because the Army Corps of Engineers said, well, no, the levels inside the building were not unsafe, but they closed the school out of caution, and the Army Corps of Engineers has moved a lot of dirt so far.
So that's a good development. People there and, that area, Coldwater Creek, all of those areas that are contaminated have been sounding alarms for years. And I'm sure they feel like they're not being heard. Some of us hear them, but I'm not sure if enough of the important people, those who can make decisions, do hear them, with the exception of people like Cori Bush, that's her district, or Josh Hawley, which is that's an amazing sort of tandem that you would not expect to have, those two, and Hawley, for a guy who does a lot of, I think, showboating,
grandstanding,
a lot of grandstanding. This is very important, and he has been out in front and on top of it, and he should be commended for it, because that is a very, very important issue. So I know how you feel about shoplifting. Nobody likes shoplifting. Nobody likes to see that.
The 5-finger discount?
Yeah. You ever shoplifted?
No.
Well, TJ Maxx is out to catch people like you. TJ Maxx.
Non-shoplifters.
No, you're a shoplifter. I bet you've slipped a thing into your pocket or your purse.
Oh my gosh.
TJ Maxx is equipping store workers with body cams, and the whole purpose of doing that is they believe it's going to deter shoplifting efforts. So I don't know how I feel about this. It seems like an extra measure, but it also seems like it's probably just window dressing, because I don't know. Yes, if your face is on camera shoplifting, you're more likely to be caught. But what if they are wearing a face covering of some kind when they come in and do this?
It's interesting. It's pretty bold-faced, because I've worked at retail before, and especially my friend who worked at a Gap on a mall with an outside entrance. People pull up, no masks. They run in, they grab handfuls of product and run out, because they know those store employees have been instructed not to do anything. So maybe the cameras do say, hey, we can't touch you, we can't stop you, but we're going to have video of you.
Yeah, so TJ Maxx has not said when the cameras are going to be turned on, but they have also said that they're not going to share it with police unless law enforcement is asking for it. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll work, but why the hell not?
If TJ Maxx employee gets arrested by an officer, we'll have video from both angles.
I know, right? It'll be so exciting. I'll tell you what's exciting. The NBA Finals and the NHL Final, they have players featured from one high school here in St. Louis. That's Chaminade, and the principal, Philip Rohn, will be joining us next on KMOX.
Hey guys, it's Dave and Rachel from The Dave Glover Show.
So Smart Mouth is the only mouth rinse in the world that has a chemical reaction that makes sure that your bad breath is gone for 12 hours at a time, which means 24 hours a day, zero bad breath.
Yeah, all you have to do is rinse twice and you're covered for 24 hours. That means you never have bad breath. Plus, there's a product to fit whatever your needs are. To learn more, go to their website, smartmouth.com/Glover. And while you're there, you can get a coupon for $2.50 off.
Now at pedalthecause.org, register for our 15th anniversary event. Coming this September 21st and 22nd, because the more we ride, the more we raise. The more we raise, the more we research. The more we research, the more we all raise. Together, we will create a world without cancer. Learn more at pedalthecause.org. PetalTheCost.org.
Hi, I am Jackie Brock, the wife of our beloved Lou Brock, St. Louis Cardinal legend and Hall of Famer. I have a new resident. I am so excited to tell you about Fair Winds River's Edge in St. Charles, Missouri. It is my new residence where I find everything for life and living. The staff is incredible, kind, warm, cordial, supportive, everything that you would want in an independent living community. The activities are innumerable, and we find the food the best in town. Call in today about the $99 move-in special, 636-754-2317. I'll see you there.
At 12:30, Sun 83 downtown. A thruster issue kept Boeing's new Starliner space capsule from docking with the International Space Station last hour. Here's Mission Control in Houston.
Just be advised, looks like you're doing great flying there in the hold box. We lost the first docking window. We're going to still analyzing all the data and getting a path to approach for the next docking window.
The next window to dock with ISS begins in a few minutes. This is the first flight of the private sector Starliner space capsule with humans on board. Tornadoes spawning storms tearing across the eastern U.S. killed a toddler in a Detroit suburb and injured at least 5 in Maryland on Wednesday and left another 8 people hurt in Ohio early today. A new exhibit celebrates the history of LGBTQIA+ people in St. Louis. Gateway to Pride at the Missouri History Museum is the first full-scale exhibit to do so. Dr. Jody Sowell, president of the Missouri Historical Society, says the exhibit's strength is individuality.
You see artists and you see activists, you see sports stars and you see faith leaders, you see your neighbors, you see fellow St. Louisans. It's incredibly inspirational.
Sowell says Gateway to Pride will showcase meaningful artifacts, striking images, and insightful oral histories. It opens this weekend and runs through July 2025.
This Redbird Report is sponsored by Aloha Pools USA. Win big with a pool or spa at AlohaPoolsUSA.com. Redbirds wrapped up their 9-game road trip with a 4-2 win in Houston against the Astros as they get a win from Miles Michaelis going 6 innings, picks up his 4th win of the season. Ryan Helsley, his major league leading 20th save. Nolan Arenado picked up his 6th home run of the season. Cards open up their 7-game homestand tonight against the Colorado Rockies. Coverage starts at 5:50, 6:45 at the first pitch. Sonny Gray will get the start for St. Louis.
Thank you, Scott Warman. We've got some debris on 270 northbound at St. Charles Rock Road. That's got the center lane closed. 70 west, the exit to West Florissant is blocked by some utility work that's happening there. We've got 67 north at Conway. That's got the right lane closed there. And road work 364 east to Arena Parkway. Right lane is closed. Sunny, breezy, and warm this afternoon. High 85. Clear tonight, low 62. For tomorrow, high 87. Right now, downtown, some sun. It's 83. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Rattler Pest Solutions has been growing since 1956. We're driven to assist our customers and have fun doing it.
I believe in them, and I know that if there's a problem, they're going to solve it.
For quick, proven pest solutions, call Rattler.
The KMOX Studios, powered by Underlaw Injury Lawyers. GetJim.com.
That's GetJim.com.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are joined by Dr. Slade Stratton, dermatologic surgeon.
It's kind of one-stop shopping, and everybody is on the same medical record, and everybody communicates all the time. So it's one big team. It can easily coordinates all of different specialties in medicine that might be needed to treat your skin cancer.
Special thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-329-2121. That's 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
Hey folks, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house on the walls, patios, walkways, porch, or chimneys? If so, this might be a great time to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. What's tuck pointing? It's the removal of old mortar and the replacement of new mortar on a wall or chimney. Sometimes that mortar can become loose, missing, or deeply eroded. We've used the Morelli team to tuck point the Brennan home several times, and in fact, this winter, we noticed the bricks that line the ground near our porch in the backyard had gotten out of line and looked pretty cattywampus. One call, Morelli Tuck Pointing, the job was done. Morelli's the company that's won the Angie's List Super Service Award every year, back to back to back since 2005. Check out their reviews on the Google, Angie's List, and Better Business Bureau websites. The Masonry Specialists, 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Hi, I'm Cardinals second baseman Nolan Gorman. It's game day.
It's the Cards and Rockies tonight. Ameren Total Access 550. First pitch 6:45.
Let's play ball.
On your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Thinking about his options. Forsling. And they score! Matthew Tkachuk with the first goal of the series. And Florida leads 1-0.
Tatum all the way to the basket, lays it in, a little scoop by Jason Tatum, and Jason Kidd wants a timeout. This is Dallas Field, a large automobile.
Well, the NBA Finals are happening starting tonight. The Boston Celtics and Dallas Mavericks are happening. And then the NHL Finals will happen over the weekend. That's going to get started on Saturday. And in both series, there is a player prominently featured because they're both really good players. And they are in each series. Matthew Tkachuk will play in the NHL Final, the Stanley Cup Final. And we've got Jason Tatum, who is playing as well. Both of them are from one high school.
And both of them were at that high school at the same time.
How about that?
That's insane.
Chaminade, which can only mean it is the best high school in all of St. Louis. And to talk
Chaminade is French for how about that?
How about that? So talk about that with us on the Quiver River Electric guest line. We visit with the principal of Chaminade. It is Philip Rohn who is with us on KMOX. We appreciate your time, Philip. How are you?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me on today.
This must be really exciting for the school. I'm not sure if that's happened before, where you have the finals, the championship round for two major sports, and there is a former Chaminade kid playing in both of them.
No, not in my time. I don't think that's ever happened. You're right.
I assume school is out now, but was there a buzz among the students in the week or two leading up to this?
Oh, sure. Always a buzz about both teams, because obviously we have a basketball and hockey team here. So the guys are always talking about what those guys are doing, for sure. Always that buzz.
Yeah, that it must mean a lot for the school itself. I mean, just to have one player who is a star in their league come from your high school is such a big deal. I went to Granite City High School, and we had Kevin Green, who was in the NFL, and he is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, and that was such a big deal to us. But to have two different guys who come from the same school, who were there at the exact same time, that's just incredible.
Very fortunate, you're right. It's crazy. The whole vibe when they were here, and especially Jason when he was playing, the gym was just packed every game that he played.
Yeah, that was the question I was going to ask you, is what was it like when Tatum was there? I believe Tkachuk would have been involved in sort of a club sport kind of thing, right? But everybody knew he was good at hockey. What was it like when those two players were there?
So when Matt was here, I remember in PE, he's playing floor hockey in the gym, right? And so he kept scoring, so they made him play goalie, because he continued to score, so they stuck him in the goal the entire time. Now, when Jason was here, it started, I guess, sophomore year. We had to have a teacher at every door. The gym was packed. There was media every game, and it was such an exciting time. And for the principals and the staff, we had to keep everything under control, and sometimes we didn't get to see all the games. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a spectacle. And we all know what that can do, for instance, for a college when their college team makes a deep run in the NCAA tournament, or they have a star player like Caitlin Clark. How does having prominent athletes like this affect a high school?
It's a great question. First of all, they always come back and talk to the kids. I would say that's the biggest impact. Like when they come back and they give to the kids. Like, for example, when Matt was here, when he's on the All-Star team, it was when the game was in St. Louis. That day, he came to Chaminade, went down to the cafeteria. He talked to the kids all day. He signed stuff. And at the end of the day, he took off his jersey and signed it. And that was exciting. Jason, like last year, in between NBA games, he came to one of our games and he talked to our basketball team, about, what it is to deal with adversity, how to be successful, all those kind of things. They really kind of connect with the kids. And so that's always a lot of fun.
Visiting with Philip Rohn, the principal at Chaminade High School here in St. Louis. Again, Jason Tatum, NBA Finals, Matthew Tkachuk, Stanley Cup Final. So it's a very big week or two for the school here. And Amy asked you the question about what it means for the school moving forward. And of course, when they come in to visit with students, that is a very big deal. But it's also a private university, so recruiting is part of the equation. How much does something like this help?
Well, like for example, Jason he's been holding camps, basketball camps here. So you can just only imagine just so many kids come, and just, grade school kids come. And so that just gets the name out there, Chaminade's name out there, and all these little kids want to come. And so that's a big boost. But, they also, like you said, we have to do fundraisers. They sign all kinds of artifacts, balls, jerseys, and give them to the Chaminade auction every year. But, yeah, you're right, Chris. As far as recruiting, kids come because Jason went here. It's just a fact.
And it
keeps coming back. It's always helpful.
That's the thing when it comes to universities, colleges. Sports is such a big recruiting tool. In fact, and you could argue that it's maybe the best recruiting tool. Everybody wants to go to Duke, not just because it's a great school, but also because they've got this basketball team and this atmosphere that everybody wants to be a part of. It is as big of a marketing tool as a university can have. It has to be the same for a high school like yours as well.
Definitely. I would say, yeah, you're totally right on that. I mean, the kids, and what I think is special with both of those guys, when they come back to them, it's like being back when they're in high school. And like the teachers, they don't get all gaga and about Jason. He's the Jason and match the Matt that they were when they were here. And so that it's a two-way street. So yeah, it's a really cool thing for a high school to have. Sometimes, we won a few state championships, and it gets like we're there all the time. And so we expect it. Most high schools don't even make it to a state championship. So we're very fortunate.
And Philip, you're from St. Louis originally, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, because I was going to ask, and maybe just you talking to colleagues from high schools across the state or the country, in St. Louis, we always ask, where did you go to high school? And we really focus on high school here more than I think a lot of other cities. So my guess is having these players like a Jason Tatum, like a Matthew Tkachuk, that would be cool for any high school, but in this super hyper high school focused city, it's got to be even compounded that much more.
Oh, definitely. As you know, Chaminade is in the Metro Catholic Conference, very competitive league. And, I appreciate all of the St. Louis universities, the CBCs, the DeSmets, but all of those schools, they can name players as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's always important. I think if somebody would ask me, the MCC is a perfect example of what schools would be when they compete for the benefit of the whole.
Yeah.
And so we all drive that train, and it's a good thing.
I will just say, we all have friends who went to the different high schools. You mentioned SLU High and Chaminade. And of course, my friends from those respective schools call each other the Sloozers and the Chaminards. And so
Wow.
I know all of the rivalries. It's what makes it fun, though.
It is, even though I would debunk all of those. Understand, those nicknames are created by, teenagers.
Right. No, not
Teenagers,
you.
yeah.
I didn't cite your name as the original of
Well,
those. Yeah.
That's not the way I took it.
Well,
Yeah, no, well, we teach boys. We understand what boys are like.
Phil, so I don't know if there's I'm looking at the schedules. I'm not sure there's an overlap potential games. If I don't think so. I think the NBA and NHL pretty much are very good about alternating their schedules, so there won't be overlap. Your next several nights are going to be very busy watching hockey and basketball, aren't they?
Oh, you better believe it. Absolutely. And, of course. And I'll have another screen with the Cardinals on.
Oh, there you go.
excellent.
Oh, there. Well, I mean, if you can't, you can just listen to the Cardinals games on the Odyssey app.
KMOX.
That's right. That's right.
And before we let you go, I know school's out, so it might be different, but are the students doing anything officially to watch any of the games, or not so much since it's summer now?
Well, right now we have a bunch of camps going on. I'm sure they're talking about it at the basketball camp. We have a basketball camp here. Frank Bennett, Jason's coach, he's going to have that camp for the next several weeks, and they'll talk about it. They'll be getting a big vibe going on. They'll be watching the games, and I'm sure they'll address it, because a lot of those kids, that help out with the camp, they're on it, and they're going to be watching for sure.
Well, this is a very exciting time for Chaminade, so congrats on this and enjoy the next week or 2 weeks or however long it lasts, because this is a lot of fun.
Yes, it certainly is. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Philip Rohn, principal at Chaminade. I can't even conceive of that. I know that we've got high schools in the area who've had professional athletes. I mean, everybody knows that. But to have two arguably best players on each of their teams.
In the finals. Because, people say Lafayette had Ryan Howard and David Freese, but it wasn't at the same time. And of course, they weren't in the World Series at the same time. But yeah, this is two athletes who were playing at the school at the same time, are now both two of their top players on their respective teams in their league's respective finals.
Boston Celtics with Jason Tatum will take on Dallas tonight. 7:30 is game one. And then on Saturday, it is the Oilers and Panthers with Matthew Tkachuk. That'll be game one of the Stanley Cup final. Really, really fun stuff. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji on KMOX.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you why pay more than $4. In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many market's ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444, 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than $4?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. This was only a test. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. This was only a test.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
What do Donna Vogt, Janet Williams, Susan Honor, and Jonathan Hurst have in common? They're just some of the best fans in baseball and winners of a pair of tickets to an upcoming game at $100 to Rawlings. Want to get in on the winning? To get entered, head to KMOX.com/contests and upload a photo of you decked out in your game day attire. The best fans in baseball, presented by KMOX and Rawlings, the mark of a pro.
Paid for by government.com. Have you heard? A recent stash of 1902 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1902 silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 300 of these Morgan silver dollars are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-937-4707, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1902 Morgan silver dollar, featuring the iconic O mint mark of the New Orleans Mint. But with limited quantity, you must call now. These 1902 silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 122 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-937-4707. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value free with every order. Call 1-800-937-4707 now to secure your 1902 Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-937-4707.
The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are pleased to welcome Dr. Samuel Berry to the practice. He joins Doctors Birdie, Malhotra, Brasati, and Royer as the Doctors' Doctors. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Hi, this is Ken Newbold for Newbold Toyota and Newbold BMW, a family-owned dealership group that has been around for 50 years as a Toyota dealer and 25 years in O'Fallon, Illinois. So come see us. That's Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
If you had a crystal ball, you wouldn't agonize over when to sell your home. You'd just ask, should I sell while my home's value is sky high, or wait and hope the bottom doesn't drop out of the housing market? The thing is, I'm not ready to move. You don't need a crystal ball. With Truehold's Sell and Stay program, you can literally sell now and stay in your home as long as you like. When you sell your home to Truehold for its best current value, you can fully cash out your home's equity, and you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Truehold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance too. Truehold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get an offer now while your home's value is sky high, and use the money to secure your retirement, pay off bills, or finance your dreams. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's current best value without moving. That's Truehold.com. Truehold.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan. Every year, almost 30,000 babies in America are born with birth injuries. It's every parent's worst nightmare. If your child suffered a birth injury, please call our firm to find out if we can help.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Ordinary radio is overrated. Extraordinary radio now. Chris and Amy on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
All right, who wants to go see James Taylor tonight at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater? Well, this is your opportunity to win a pair of free tickets by being caller number 5 to the contest line at 314-955-1120, 314-955-1120. Good luck and be careful. Hope you have a great time.
I have some news for you.
No.
Breaking news, not great, just out of CNN. There is China's most famous scenic waterfall, the tallest waterfall, or one of the tallest waterfalls in China. People travel from all over to see it and take pictures. I think it's coming out of a pipe. A video, a video shows that perhaps this famous natural waterfall, a major tourist attraction, the source of the water is a pipe. They're looking into it. China's like, no, it's totally natural. This is definitely not a pipe.
What if you found out Niagara Falls, all of that was just from a sewer? Would that upset you, or would you feel like,
but you're not going to have a sewer that big?
You don't know.
So it was a video that shows, and it was posted to Chinese social media. It appears to show a pipe supplying water to the waterfalls, which fall 1,030 feet. That's a pretty big fall. It's one of the tallest waterfall, and they think it was sourced by pipes, and it's going viral, and people are upset.
That's really amazing. Wow. I can't imagine they would lie to their people like that. Hey, did you know that the conference championship game for the Battlehawks is this weekend? It is Sunday evening. Did you also know that Odyssey St. Louis is going to be airing it? That's right. 97.1 FM will have the XFL Conference Championship game. That will be Tom Ackerman handling play-by-play. And guess who is the analyst?
None other than Mike Martz.
Mike Martz.
Former Rams coach and the last coach to coach a professional playoff football game in St. Louis.
20 years ago. Over 20 years ago now. So it's Tom Ackerman and Mike Martz. They're going to have the XFL Conference Championship game. The broadcast will get started at 5:30 on 97.1, then the game after. Now, if they win that game, the following weekend is the championship, like the UFL championship game. That is going to happen, and we're also going to have that broadcast on 97.1, powered by KMOX. So KMOX running the broadcast. It'll be on 97.1 FM.
Pack the dome. Pack the dome. Let's show the world that we are a football town, regardless of who is in the championship game. But we all know it's going to be the Battlehawks.
Well, you have been saying, and I
No,
think this is
you said it first.
I didn't say it.
You did.
I didn't.
And I think it's inappropriate.
I think it's inappropriate that you suggested it's going to be fixed.
Well, you said it was rigged.
You said it was rigged.
The Battlehawks have to be in
Don't
the
gaslight
championship
me.
game. No, you brought it up. And Ranj thinks that this would just be a huge missed opportunity for the UFL. And so they have to win.
Well, I think so too, because they want a packed building. And you can buy tickets at theufl.com. That is the website, theufl.com. Go this weekend. The more people there, the more likely the Battlehawks will win. And
100%.
I think that's for sure.
Home field advantage.
Anything you missed, it's on the Odyssey app. Go download it. It's free. You can listen to our podcast. You can listen to our show live. And you can listen to Cardinals baseball live on it if you're in the area. So go do that. Get the app. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji, 10 o'clock on KMOX. But coming up, it's Dave Glover.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here